This is Monty in the Morning, the show Phoenix Magazine readers voted #1 talk radio show in Arizona.
#1 during your morning commute.
#1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And #1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man. How the heck are you? It is the Monty Show. Monday, November 14th, 2022. We are just a week or and a half away from Thanksgiving. And we have a delicious feast of a football schedule this weekend. See what I did there? We got to talk about the Utah Jazz because the Utah Jazz have lost 2 in a row. And does this mean that your Utah Jazz are in a tailspin? Is this what we've all been waiting for? The destruction and decline, the complete collapse, and maybe this team is actually the Utah Jazz not good? Or are we overreacting because they lost back-to-back on the road? We'll talk all things Utah Jazz coming up in just a bit. We've got to get to the Utah Utes. We've got to get to the Pac-12. Should little Kyler be benched? And it's all presented by the Advocates. UtahAdvocates.com, the very best injury attorneys in the business by any measure are the Advocates. UtahAdvocates.com. If you've been in a wreck, if you unfortunately in the snow and ice got hit by somebody and maybe they were driving distracted, you probably need an attorney. And if you're asking yourself today, hey, do I need an attorney? Nah, my insurance company is going to fight for me. They're not. They're going to try and give you as little money as possible, which is why you need an advocate at the Utah Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Hi, Jake.
Hello.
Really good to be back in the studio.
I know. Aren't you excited?
I am, because the Utah Jazz are losers of back-to-back games for the first time this season and for the first time under Will Hardy. They lost to Washington ugly and then got embeated in Philly last night. How bad are things for the Utah Jazz, Jake?
Yeah, I don't think they're that bad. I think that, obviously, the Washington loss was not great. Didn't really like how you played in that game. But I thought Philly last night was more just, you were not disciplined in the way you ran your offense. They early in the game, were moving the ball and getting wide open looks and missing some of those looks. But overall, like, the offense looked good. And then you went away from that and you started just kind of, trying to drive and kick and not really, swinging the ball and making the defense move left to right. And so you get into this position where you're not getting those great looks. You're not getting what you need to win a ball game. So to me, I don't think there's any need to panic. I don't think there's any need to worry or stress. Like, I think this is part of, a long season. Because, again, it's 82 games. Like, you're going to have swings where you lose 8 out of 10. Now, I'm not saying that's what losing 2 in a row is going to lead to right now, but it's going to happen. And I do think last night was a winnable game, but last night is also the reason you're not a 60-win team right now. You're a mid-40s win team. Like, that's where you're at as an organization. I thought, some of the spotlights from last night, I thought overall defensively, you did the best you could on Joel Embiid. I thought, last night Embiid's performance, obviously special. Obviously, they, went to him and he carried them. And I think that, you clearly lack the defender you need to even slow down Joel Embiid. You just don't even have anybody that could really compete with him. And that was on full display last night. And that's okay. But I think when, later down the line, when we're getting comments and questions about like, hey, what does this team need? Well, that's definitely a glaring need right now, a skilled big. And I love what Walker Kessler's doing. I love his game. I love where he's at in his development, but he's just not ready to play Joel Embiid one-on-one and go back and forth with him. So, to me, that was a big need. I also think that this team, on the road is going to have to learn how to win consistently. Like, I feel like that first road trip you did well. Second road trip here, obviously you haven't done as well. And you would expect that with a young team. You would expect that with a younger head coach where they have to figure out how to consistently move the ball. They don't have the luxury of just giving it to Joel Embiid at the elbow and say, hey, go and get us 60. They don't have that luxury. There's nobody on this team that's doing that. So overall, I think they're in a great place as a team. I think obviously they have things to work on, but I'm definitely not hitting the panic button here on Monday.
I don't think it's a panic button thing. I mean, the Joel Embiid situation, and I know a lot of Jazz fans think that I'm crazy for saying this. I said it last night, and everybody was like, what are you talking about? The Utah Jazz did not lose because of Joel Embiid. That's not what happened. The Utah Jazz last night lost because they stopped playing the game that had got them to 10 wins first in the NBA. They stopped moving the ball. They stopped shooting threes. Like, one of the things you can always look at with the Jazz is how many threes are they taking? If you look game to game to game, last night, they just didn't shoot enough threes to even put themselves in a position to win that game. And yet, they were in position to win the game. They didn't move the ball enough. Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton were very selfish in the fourth quarter, in my opinion, and they passed up the extra pass that could have and would have led to an open three. That's why they lost the game last night. And with all due respect to Joe, the guy was unbelievable. He's one of the best players in the NBA. I think everybody knows that. Joel Embiid going off for 17,000 points last night wasn't the reason the Utah Jazz lost the game.
With all due respect.
And listen, the Jazz on this trip just didn't play Utah Jazz basketball, or not the basketball that had gotten Will Hardy's Utah Jazz to 10 wins. And I think, Jake, that's the thing that really stands out to me, is this Jazz team just stopped playing the basketball that had gotten them to where they are.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult sometimes mentally to always stay in that mindset as a basketball player where you're thinking about, hey, make the extra pass. Hey, find that wide open guy. Like, I have to imagine that, for let's just use Jordan Clarkson as an example. Like, for Jordan Clarkson, someone of his ability to score and someone of his confidence level, like, I imagine that, based on where you're at in the game, there are going to be times where you were in his heart, he feels like him creating his own shot is the best opportunity. But I think that there is no better opportunity than the wide open 3-point shot in the corner in the NBA. Like, the stats show that wide open, uncontested corner threes are one of the highest percentage threes you can take. And I understand that Jared Vanderbilt may not be the best 3-point shooter, but if you can get, a lot of other guys, whether it's Beasley or Olynyk or any of those other names that that can knock that shot down, that's a look you want to get. And that's why I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, last night was winnable. Last night, it's not like you got blown out and, Joel had 59 and they put on some defensive clinic. Like, they were not good defensively last night. You had your opportunities offensively last night. There were many threes that you missed in the corner, absolutely. But I think, the overreaching point here, and really there's two of them in my opinion. Number one, you can't get away from what has brought you success. And I think that, to me, is the most important thing here. Like you understand, okay, here's what we need to do to win a game, and then here's what we actually did last night. And what we actually did just isn't going to give us a great shot to win a game. And then secondly, I think this concept of figuring out, just how far you can take Walker Kessler this season, like just how far he can go as a player. Is he someone that can develop and really blossom into a 25-10 guy? Can he be that? I don't know. I know he's got the athleticism to be that, but does he have the, killer instinct? Does he have the want to? Like, those are things that I am really looking forward to seeing come out of Walker Kessler one way or the other. But overall, I do agree. You didn't lose because of Joel Embiid. You lost because you didn't play your game. That said, you didn't have an answer for Joel Embiid. And by the way, just as a pure basketball fan, that was incredible basketball to watch. I mean, watching Joel do what he does on those kind of nights is one of the most enjoyable things in the league, I feel like.
I still maintain that losing to a big like that is going to be so rare for this team that I don't even think it's that big of a deal. I think it's one of those things where if you, and this is just my opinion, I think if you look at the way they played, and I think if you look at the way that Joel Embiid got his, you're not stopping that. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if Rudy was still here. When Joel Embiid is shooting the ball that well, you're not going to do anything about that. And again, not to be redundant, shoot more threes. That's the bottom line for this team. And I feel like sometimes the Jazz try to get away from that, and I don't truly understand it. Why do you run from the fact that you are, what's the word, predicated? Your wins are predicated on you shooting threes. This team has to shoot threes to win. Mm-hmm. That's the way it's built. That's their highest, best offense, in my opinion. And I look at the numbers last night. The Jazz only shot 37 threes. Mm-hmm. The Sixers shot 23. Do you understand that the Sixers shot 17.4% from three last night and won the game?
Yeah.
Like, that should be a giant indicator that you should have, as the Utah Jazz, won this game. Facts. You had the opportunity to win this game. I also look at the free throws. The Jazz shot 56.5% from the free throw stripe, 13 of 23. If you shoot 20 of 23, you win the game.
Yeah.
Like, this is not difficult. By the way, if you're only going to shoot 23 free throws, you're probably not going to win much. Mm-hmm. You got to get fouled. You got to get to the line. I look at the rebounds. You out-rebounded Philadelphia. So how much of an impact really was Joel Embiid? Because Joe last night is no different than what you're getting in this league on a night-in, night-out basis. There's always at least one guy on a team. And the best teams have two or three guys. You know, you look at the Lukas of the world. You look at the Devin Bookers of the world, the Kevin Durant's of the world. Look how well Kevin Durant and the Nets are playing right now without Kyrie Irving, because they have an alpha male now on the floor, right? So you're always going to have one guy on the opposition that's going to get his. The question is, what do you do with the other guys? Well, the other guys last night were your own team, and you couldn't get going because you didn't move the ball and you didn't shoot threes. So are the Jazz in a tailspin? No, they're not. They need to come home. They need to have a day of rest, and then they need to kick the crap out of the New York Knicks, who frankly are not a great basketball team right now. That, to me, that's how you're going to get out of this.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. And I think the only thing I'd say about last night is Markkanen wasn't exactly scintillating last night. You didn't get that, because you were talking about how like every team has their guy. Lately, Markkanen's been that guy that you can rely on for, that 23 to 26 point performance on any given night, and that, like, it didn't feel like he was playing real impactful basketball last night. And so yeah, maybe they do need rest. I don't know, but what I am here to say is that every NBA team plays tired, and you have to be able to at least consistently play within your system, because if you can rely on the system, usually you'll be in like every game you play.
Yeah.
So they like, at a minimum, Will Hardy just has to get this team to be in the system every night, or even on a smaller scale, like, every quarter. They got to be disciplined to that.
Yeah, just looking through the team stats, the other one that really stood out to me last night was the offensive rebounds. 18 offensive rebounds last night for the Jazz. They get 23 points off of turnovers last night. Like, all of these stats say they should have won, and they didn't win. And I think it is this... I don't know if it's too comfortable. I don't know if it's overconfidence, but you cannot go to the Colin Sexton block from Joel Embiid was really problematic, because you had a wide open opportunity for a three if he just kicks that ball to the corner. Mm-hmm. And he didn't do it. That's the thing. If you're a Jazz fan, that's what should have you worried, because that's a huge problem. If you're not going to share the ball, I think that's a huge problem.
Well, and I think it's clearly that to me is the classic young guy just trying to make a play instead of making the right play. The right play obviously is to kick it to the guy who's wide open in the corner. Colin Sexton's head in that moment was saying, hey, I need to try and go get fouled, and I'm going to go strong to the rack. But that's obviously not the right decision against Joel Embiid. And so that's why I say, like, I think this is also the maturing process for this team too. Like, I like, by their standard, like, last night was not a good performance for the Jazz. Like, obviously we're sitting here going through all the missed opportunities, but I also think, on the other hand, like, that's what should encourage you. Like, hey, they lose this game by 7 points, and you've got all these areas where if you just simply would have kicked it to the corner, or if you'd have taken 5 more threes last night, or if you'd have shot the ball better at the free throw line, like, all these different areas where if you'd have just done a little bit more, you win this game. And that, to me, is what's encouraging. That, to me, is what solidifies the opinion on 45 wins, because they will do those things better against the Knicks at home. You can bank on that.
Yeah. This is what is frustrating about being a Jazz fan, I think. I mean, this is the same thing, by the way, that plagued you last year. This Jazz team will have no better fate, no matter how many games they win, if they're going to continue to just lose their system, you're going to lose games. I mean, you and I don't mean to belabor the Joel Embiid point, because he was clearly amazing last night. He's all they had. Tyrese Maxey a little bit, and I'm a huge fan of Tyrese Maxey. But if you look at the numbers, I mean, they shot, what did they shoot? 26 free throws, I think. I want to say that Joe shot 24 of them. He did. 20 of 24. Daniel House Jr. had 2 free throws. Those were the only 2 guys to shoot free throws for the Sixers. I mean, these numbers tell you Joe had 59 points. Tyrese had 18. The next guy was Tobias Harris with 8. Nobody else was there. There was, in fact, only Joe and Tyrese Maxey were in double figures. Nobody else. I mean, it's incredible how one-sided this game was, and it's a game that if you're the Jazz, you're going to look back on it and feel like you should have won by 10.
Yeah.
Because I think you should have won this game by 10. If you make probably 5 better decisions last night, I think you could potentially have won this game by 10 points. Just 5 better decisions. Because I'll absolutely take the starting 5 for the Jazz. Clarkson, Conley, Vando, Markkanen, and Olynyk are better than the Sixers. I think where the Sixers are without James Harden, the Jazz are a better team. That 5 versus their 5 is a better team. The issue is also, I think the Jazz bench, I actually thought Malik Beasley was pretty good last night, and I think he continues to be one of their most important contributors for the Utah Jazz. Malik Beasley's playing very well. He gives you 18 last night. You get 15 from Sexton, but you didn't get much from Talen Horton-Tucker in the way of points, 7. But Talen Horton-Tucker had a couple of really important rebounds. Talen Horton-Tucker had a couple of really important drives. One of them he scored, the other he didn't. But he's actually giving you contributions. Just because you've lost 2 games in a row, the thing I would say to you is don't go driving off the edge of a cliff, my friends, because this team is fine. This Jazz team is fine. You look at the numbers, you look at the contributions, you look at the way they're playing. This team is fine. I do not panic. Do not lose yourself. I don't think this team's falling apart. I don't think this is a disaster by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, completely agree.
All right, talking Utah Jazz basketball on the Monty Show. As always, anytime we talk NBA or the Utah Jazz, our conversations are presented by TryDayTrading.com. They do exactly what their name says. They want you to try day trading. Get to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. And listen, they're so confident in their ability to make you hundreds, at a minimum, hundreds of dollars a day. Their graduates and alumni at Tri-Day Trading, the people who go through their program, are making hundreds and thousands of dollars a day trading on the market right now. That's what you should be making. So if you're waking up this morning, you're like, damn, it's Monday. It's like 30 degrees outside. I hate my job. The coffee sucks and my boss is a dick. Maybe you should get to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. I went because I'm stuck with idiot over here. Right, and, it just motivated me. I'm kidding.
Right.
I would tell you to go to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Monty, I don't know anything about the stock market. Please. How? Why? What do you mean? It doesn't matter what you know, because I know what you don't know, and that is that the TryDayTrading.com system is unbelievable. They're so confident that you're going to start day trading their money, not yours. And when you make money with their money, Tri-Day Trading is going to give you 50% of the profit. And if you don't believe me, don't take our word for it. How about our good friend who we've never met, Alema Harrington?
Alema Harrington here. I've been in the broadcast business going on 30 years now. And after that amount of time, you start to be able to pick some winners. I want to share a winner that I'm aware of with you, and that is my guys at Tri-Day Trading. They're going to teach you how to trade, and then they're going to let you trade using their money and then split the profits with you. That's a pretty winning deal. If you want to register for a free webinar, all you have to do is go to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. So for more information, it's TryDayTrading.com/Monty. We'll see you there.
Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal. My close personal friend, Alema Harrington, telling you the exact same thing that I'm saying. Get to TryDayTrading.com/Monty because, I you know who Alema is. You know he's a big name in this town. If he's telling you, if he believes in the Tri-Day system, you've got to get there. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. daytrading.com. Make the money, live the life that you deserve. Let's get your comments in here as we talk Utah Jazz basketball. Kenai Johnson, you stud. How the heck are you? Hope you had a good weekend. Mike Chase, who was actually the first one in this morning, says, morning, fellas. Hope your trip was fun. Yeah, we went snowboarding in Mammoth. Yeah. It was amazing. It was amazing. And I know I say this every year, and I've been snowboarding it's probably my 10th year or something like that I've been snowboarding. But it's odd to me that you don't snowboard for 6 months, right? Like, I guess April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Yeah, 6.5 months you don't snowboard.
Yeah.
You get right back on that board, and it's like you never left. Like you've been doing it every day. Your brain's amazing.
Yes.
It's absolutely amazing to me. And by the way, the snow in Mammoth, California, it was thigh deep. It was amazing.
Truly incredible.
How much snow they had. Had a great time at Mammoth. Thank you, Mike, for asking. JP Shanahan, what's up, dude? Last night's loss probably confirms that Jazz has a difficulty when dealing with a big-name star on other teams. And good morning, by the way. I don't know. Would you agree with that? I mean, you look at their losses.
Yeah.
Right? If you look at the Utah Jazz, and you've lost to some teams, like the Wizards. Do the Wizards have a big-name star that beat you? Probably not. I mean, obviously, Porzingis, and as we mentioned, Kyle Kuzma was going to have a big game. You knew that. But it's not like Bradley Beal went off for 100. He didn't even play in the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know that's what beat you in that game. I go back to the Mavericks loss, and I think we all know why you lost that game. You lost that game because Luka had 33 points.
But look at these losses. The Maverick loss, you lost by 3 points, right? Like you're not losing by 15.
But what's the problem in that game? What's the problem in that game? You went 10 of 30 from 3. Right? Oh, that's 33%. That's actually not terrible. I'm telling you, this team's got to shoot 35 to 45 threes to win.
And I think the difference, so last year's team and this year's team both needed to shoot a lot of threes to win ball games, right?
Yes.
The difference, though, between these two and why they need that is very simple. The difference is that this Jazz team needs that because that's the system they play. They have to be in that system in finding those open looks because they don't have Donovan Mitchell. They don't have that superstar guy on the squad. So they got to generate those open looks through more traditional means. Whereas last year's team just needed to take those because that's how the team was built. You had a bunch of snipers, and that was going to be, you need to go through those guys. But this year's team needs to stay true to that system. And that's why I'm saying I look at some of these losses, and most of these losses are 1-2 possession losses, they're
self-inflicted.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're self-inflicted.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that the Jazz should be undefeated. I'm certainly not saying that.
Right.
But you're in every one of these games. Even if I go back to the Denver loss in Denver, that was like your second loss.
Yeah.
It's not like you got beat up by, Jokic. I think Jokic had under 12 points in that game. You're getting beat because you lose yourself a little bit. And I still maintain if you can give me 35 to 45 threes, you're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
On a regular basis.
30's not getting it done.
And by the way, you look at what's coming up. They're playing Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. And it's a difficult trick to turn. I mean, you're talking about, the Knicks. You're better than the Knicks. That's a game that I would suspect that when the number drops later today, the Jazz should be favored in that game.
100%.
Phoenix, we'll see about Phoenix. I think the interesting part about this stretch of games is that when you look at Phoenix on Friday, obviously that's at home with a back-to-back at Portland, and then you go back to the Clippers. So I actually think these two at home, you got to get those two at home.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get those two at home because you don't want to lose 3 or 4. And I think going to LA, the Clippers, I don't know, am I still overvaluing the Clippers? I mean, you're not playing great basketball. Obviously, we saw what KD did to that team, which I think is interesting, but then they turn around and did you guys see the Brooklyn game last night? I don't need sleep. I went to bed a little earlier, but I'm laying in bed watching the Clipper or the Laker Brooklyn game.
Yeah.
I don't know what is going on with the Lakers and Anthony Davis. but he's playing superior basketball without LeBron on the floor because LeBron's hurt. For those of you who don't know, LeBron's not playing for the Lakers right now with this abductor strain.
Yeah.
But I look at the Lakers. They're better without LeBron. And I had an NBA source tell me over the weekend that the Lakers actually are trying to continue conversations with the Nets, and that their most what's the right way, in-depth, passionate conversations with the Nets and the Lakers were not about Kyrie Irving. The Lakers are trying to get Kevin Durant. So all of this talk about Kyrie, it hasn't been, according to my sources, that they've been trying to get Kyrie Irving. The Lakers were actually trying to hit a home run and trade Anthony Davis for Kevin Durant, and they were willing to give up 2 first-round picks to do that.
That's every day.
They would have obviously, I mean, I think AD's making 32, and I think Kevin Durant's making 47 or something like that, so they're going to have to make the money work.
Yeah.
But they were willing to part with Lonnie Walker, which would have been a significant pickup for the Nets with Anthony Davis. Now, obviously, the Nets are not going to trade Kevin Durant at this point, but it goes to show you the Lakers are not just sitting on their hands hoping that they start winning games, frankly. And I think without LeBron, they're starting to understand that Anthony Davis and LeBron James are not good together or not as good together. And I think the Lakers are in this interesting situation where they're still living on this, but we won a championship with these two guys. And I think that's one of the worst places for them to be, in that, hey, that's great, you won a championship. It was in a crazy circumstance in the bubble. And those two guys, while they are the main reason you won the championship, let's be honest, KCP and Caruso are the reasons that they won that championship in the bubble.
Facts.
So them playing a part, they're clearly, LeBron and AD are clearly better players away from each other. I think it makes all the sense in the world for the Lakers to trade Anthony Davis, and it is not surprising to me at all, Jake, that they were more interested in Kevin Durant than they were in Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, if you just pose the question, who'd you be more interested in? Obviously, 10 out of 10 teams would say Kevin Durant. I mean, no one's going to disagree with that. But this conversation around, like, the LeBron AD situation and, like, what they're going to do about that, like, I agree with you. The worst thing you can do is keep living on a championship you won, what is that now, 3 seasons or 2 seasons now, whatever it is. So, like, you're living in the past, and I think, unfortunately for the Lakers, like, you don't have financial flexibility right now. And it seems like for ages you've been living on these 2 first-round picks that you have, and what are you going to do with the picks? And are the Jazz going to make a bogey deal? And are you going to make a Kyrie deal? And they just have been bouncing around different situations. And I think when you have all these different situations going on as a front office, it's easy to get distracted. You're looking all across the league and all across the land. Where can I move this and do that? And where can I do this deal to try to get better? Instead of just looking at the team you have and saying, all right, what actually is the fundamental issue with this team? Because I'm a big believer in that. Like, just find the issue as a GM in the NBA and then figure out what your best option is to address it. Because we know in the NBA, and really in all of sports, you don't get just to say, okay, I have this issue and then I can go get whatever player. Obviously, making deals happen is not easy. So I'm not going to sit here and say that this Lakers team should, like, let's say something outlandish, like they should trade LeBron, or they should do something ridiculous like that. Should they extend LeBron again? Absolutely not. I would not. I would move on from that situation. I wouldn't trade LeBron, though. The thing is, Anthony Davis and this injury stuff, feed that guy. Build his trade value, then I'd ship him out. I would. You have to be cold-blooded like that. That's the kind of move the Lakers have to make. Yep. If they want any kind of chance.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think when if you've watched this show at all, and you know that, here on the show, we talk a lot of NBA, we talk a lot of Utah Jazz, the Monty Show presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. I think it's one of those things where you have to understand that trades are very difficult to make. And, I saw some of the comments about, where's Rec One's comment? Did Danny Ainge send Rudy on purpose to destroy the Wolves, knowing what will happen, and that those picks will get into turn into a chance of getting Wembanyama in 2023? No, he did not. A. B. Rudy's not the problem in Minnesota. I'm telling you, I think it's D'Angelo. I think it's dysfunction. I think Karl Anthony Towns, they're finding out the hard way, cannot guard the power forward position. I think he is out of sync offensively. That's not Rudy Gobert's fault, and he's not the reason that they're struggling. We spent a lot of time the other night watching the Timberwolves trying to really figure out, hey, what's going on with this team? D'Angelo Russell's what's going on with that team. Their bench is what's going on with that team. They need more consistency, and they need system in Minneapolis. After watching a lot of their stuff the other night, I actually don't think Rudy Gobert's what's wrong with them. I think Rudy makes it awkward, but I don't think he's the reason. And the Jazz have no chance at getting Victor Wembanyama. I just think that ship has sailed. Scoot Henderson's going to roll through here. I'm really excited to tell you Scoot's going to be on the show when the G League Ignite are here at Maverick Center to take on. Yeah, I'm excited to talk to him, to take on the SLC Stars, the G League affiliate of your Utah Jazz. Scoot's going to come by the studio. We're going to spend some time talking to him. And I still maintain he's the guy you want in that. But no, I don't think that's the issue at all. Mike Maples, good morning to you. This team has been together for 2 months, and you've been in every game. You're 10-5. They will get more cohesive, and that's when they could be even better. Yeah, I mean, they're still learning how to play with each other. And I think, it's interesting. Rudy Gay is a really, I think, an interesting guy in that whole mix.
Yeah.
Like, how does Rudy Gay work on this roster?
I think that's tough. I think
it's very tough.
He's later in his career. I think that, like last night he had a possession where he was guarding Joel.
Several, yeah.
And I think that, putting him on Joel is cool in the sense that Rudy can afford to foul Joel and play real physical basketball because he's not someone that's going to play 40 minutes a night. Like, he doesn't need to spread his fouls out. You can bring him in and basically say, hey, go and get him, get after him, frustrate him, be physical, and then you can take him out. And so that, to me, is one role he fills. I think another role he fills that he's struggling with a bit is three-point shooting. There are numerous times where he's wide open in the corner. And frankly, with Rudy Gay, I do expect it to go in. For whatever reason, can't really explain that, but I just expect Rudy Gay to be a guy who, if you get 5 shots a night, you're going to make 3 of those. I guess I just expect that out of him. And that's where I feel like, your Rudy Gays of the world on this team, you got to make your shots if this team is going to win right now. You need, 5 to 10 points out of Rudy Gay to win a ball game.
But shouldn't he be that guy also that you can put on look at Kristaps the other night. Yeah. Porzingis had an easy time against the Jazz because they're not big. And Kelly Olynyk, which again, not to keep putting my thumb in the wound, but this is why you don't trade Bojan Bogdanovic for flipping Kelly Olynyk because Kelly can't defend Joe and he can't defend Kristaps. And those are prototypical big men in this league. Look how well Kristaps shot.
Yeah.
I mean, he has got a good shot. You look at Joe. Who thought that three-pointer he hawked up at the end of the game was going in? Because I did.
Yeah.
I thought it was going in. The guy's a wonderful shooter. It's not like they're driving by you and dunking. Well, I mean, Joe did some of that too.
Keep it real.
My point is, can you defend the low block? And right now, I don't think you can.
No.
And Rudy Gay is part of the reason you can't.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm saying. This roster, that's what I'm saying. This roster is still an unfinished gem, if you will. It's still in development. You're still, you're figuring out, okay, what dynamics do we want at play on this team? And I think, that whole Timberwolves conversation is something as a Jazz fan you should really be wary of, because
absolutely,
as soon as you sign that $45-50 million a year guy, that changes the dynamic, because their issue, in my opinion, yes, is D'Lo, and from a personnel standpoint, he is a big problem. But the core issue, why they're so dysfunctional, is they don't have leadership. The guys getting paid the money aren't leaders. The Brooklyn Nets are having success because Kevin Durant's making the money and Kevin Durant's putting the ball in the hole.
And he's the alpha now.
And he's the alpha.
And I think that's where, to bring this back to the Jazz, that's the next evolution of this roster. You need an alpha on this team.
Yes.
Because absolutely, it's so fun. It's almost refreshing to watch a roster of B players come together and become something special. To see Lauri Markkanen be right? You need that guy who you can hand the ball to and say, hey, that's my alpha. That's my number one. He's the best player on the team. Oh, I need a bucket. I'm going to that dude, right?
Yeah.
You don't have that right now on this team. So consequently, when you have 4 or 5 possessions, you don't kick that ball, you get blocked by Joe at the rack. That's a problem, and it becomes a bigger problem because you don't have a go-to guy. And I really want that go-to guy to be Jordan Clarkson. I just don't know if he's that dude. I don't, because in this game last night, me and Mrs. Monty are sitting on the couch watching this game, and I keep saying, where's Jordan? Where's JC? Got to get Clarkson the ball. He's your guy. He's your bucket getter. And it just didn't evolve into that. That moment never happened for Jordan. And I think that's one of the things that this team misses, because if we're all being really honest, you have 2 really good 6 men in Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton, but Clarkson is a starter. And I understand that. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do. But what this Utah Jazz team is lacking is that killer, that number one, that guy that you're like, I need a bucket. Let me give it to this guy. And right now in this league, whether that's, LeBron, AD, Kevin Durant, Donovan Mitchell, who didn't play, and now the Cavs have lost, I think, 4 in a row? Yeah. I think. You need that guy, and that's the next evolution of this roster. But right now, I still think this is one of the best teams in the NBA. I still think that you are probably the best team in the Western Conference. You can win on any floor. You just got to play Will Hardy basketball.
Well, and I think that Will Hardy basketball has to be led on the floor by Mike Conley. Like, that was kind of what I was waiting for last night. Like, you talk about waiting for JC. I was waiting for like Laurie or JC or someone to kind of get going. And I think on these kind of nights, like last night, like, you need Mike Conley and Will Hardy to be on the same page and say, hey, there's 6 minutes left and we're down 4. We gotta chop this lead down to get up 1.
Notice he went back to that core group of guys late in the game, which I was actually really happy about.
Yeah.
To get Laurie and Mike Conley out there with Beasley, like, to get that group, I think he's now learning who that go-to group is when crunch time is there. Mm-hmm. Because I want to see Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton out there together. Mm-hmm. I actually want to see more Conley, Sexton, and Clarkson together with Lauri Markkanen and then whoever that other guy's going to be. I want to see Sexton and Conley on the floor together with either Clarkson or Malik Beasley.
Bloody, clean, methodical, and thorough.
Yeah, listen, I understand that is a small lineup. I totally understand that. But that's what this league is becoming. And, hey, if it's got to be Rudy Gay, or if it's got to be – and frankly, I would have, in my opinion, until he gets in foul trouble, I'd have put Lauri Markkanen on Joe and let the chips fall where they may. Yeah. And late in the game, I think that's what we saw. But I also think we're watching Will Hardy learn about his team and learn about his roster.
Yeah, and the small thing, like them being a smaller team, it wasn't like that was necessarily a problem for you outside of Joel last night. Like, yes, Joel ate because this team was small, 100%. But Joel, as we said earlier, it's not the reason you lost this game. Like, Joel's going to get his. Luka's going to get his. Like these guys are going to get their 30 points, and on some nights that's going to be 60, right? Like, that's how the NBA works. But let's not sit here and say, I don't want you guys to be sitting there watching the show thinking, oh, well, this team, they're small, so that's why they're losing some of these games. Absolutely not. That couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, a lot of the reason that they're a double-digit win team right now is because they're small and they're fast as hell, and teams can't keep up.
Well, and the other thing I think that we're learning, because that really feels like the theme of this Jazz roster right now. What are we learning? Mm-hmm. Because you don't really... What's the right way to say this? Winning is critical. Obviously, we all want to win games.
Yeah.
But I feel like you learn more about your guys and your club and your coach where this team is by losing.
Facts.
So when you lose 2 in a row, what did we learn about Walker Kessler this weekend? He's having trouble defending premier bigs in the NBA. There's no doubt that's inarguable now.
Yeah.
Right? But he's also competing at a really high level. He's competing against Joe. Now, did Joe cross him over? Yeah, he did. But look at that sequence, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Maxey, actually, where Kessler turns it over and throws it right to Maxey, right?
Yeah.
But Maxey goes up, and what's Walker do? He blocks a shot and kicks an outlet.
That was such an awesome play, dude.
But I think that is where we're seeing the growth and development of this team.
Yeah.
So Agbaji gets sent to the G League. He should be. Azubuike should be sent to the G League. He should be. Because sitting on the bench at this stage in people's career, like, Agbaji needs minutes. He's got to play.
Well, this was the Jared Butler conversation from last year, right? Like,
exactly right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because remember early last week, when all the noise in the comment section was like, oh, Will Hardy's better than Quinn, and Quinn sucked, and Will's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Okay, well, let's see how he uses the G League to develop some of these guys. Like, I agree with you. Agbaji should be in the G League, 100%. Like, you can't have dudes just sitting on the end of the bench rotting away the whole season. Like, you got to develop these guys. So I love the development that's happening now. Like, I feel like in the developmental category, Will Hardy's been way better than Quinn ever wanted to be. It wasn't an emphasis for Quinn. So to me, I like where the team is at. Like I said,
love where the team's at.
Last night wasn't some indictment on where this team is at. Did they face a force in Joel Embiid that was just too much for them? Yes, absolutely. Now, 10 games from now, if I take the Jazz, 10 games from now, they probably win last night, right? Because they're going to learn the lessons and they're going to understand, okay, if we just stay true to what we do, we're better than most teams in the league. We can beat most teams in the league. And then at the deadline, Danny's going to make a move, and he's going to bring in some 6'7" wing player who's got a 7-foot wingspan and can do a lot for you, and that's it.
Yep. Talking Utah Jazz basketball on the Monty Show. What's up? Skinny Dick Nick says, "Ayo, Monty Myers."
Whoa.
What?
What kind of name is that?
What do you mean?
What?
Yeah, his name is Skinny Dick Nick. I don't know what. I don't know what to tell you about that. You know. You know.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Mike Maples. Oh, that's a really good point. Rudy is what he is. We strip them of role players. T-Wolves have no bench. Well, I also think you got a really another high level effort out of Vando last night, and I think, you know, frankly, I think probably upside on this team right now. I think we're seeing flashes of awesomeness from Walker Kessler.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Jared Vanderbilt is one of those guys you've got to have on your team. He doesn't mind being a dirty dog, but he also is getting you tips at the rim. I'm pleasantly surprised that they're able to throw him the ball in traffic at times.
Yeah.
And he actually catches the ball.
Dude, if he ever becomes a serviceable three-point shooter out of the corner, the guy's gonna be a big-time threat. Like, right now, that shot is very mechanical. It's very... You know, it's not smooth. It's not fluid. He doesn't have a lot of confidence in it. And you can see that in the way he shoots the ball. And so to me, again, he's not one of those guys that's ever going to be like 45% or some ridiculous shooter, but just be 37%. Just be like make a decent amount to where people think it's going in when you're shooting. Because once that happens, then things will open up for him.
And I also think he's another one of those guys that fits in with that. This roster is really interesting in that you have the THTs, the Walker Kesslers, you know, and I would put Vando in that group because I think Vanderbilt's 24.
Yeah, he's
23.
Not. He's certainly not. I don't think he's in his
look
prime.
Look up how old he is. Yeah, no,
see.
Not close to his prime. But you look at THT, who's 21. You know he's got upside.
23.
Vando's 23. You've got Walker Kessler fresh out of college. Like, you look at these guys that are super young, and then you pivot to the Conleys, the Clarksons, the Beasleys. And Beasley's not old by any stretch, but the guys who are experienced NBA players. And I just think that you have such a nice mix
Beasley's
of guys.
25.
Yeah, so you have a nice mix of guys like Markkanen. You have these dudes that can play. And again, the other guy I point to is Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton's still very young, and he's on a really club-friendly contract. So I think it is. You're exactly right, Maples. If they took the depth off that bench, I agree with that. Jazzketball. Okay. This is exactly what I've been saying on our podcast. Okay, well, we appreciate you listening to our podcast.
Yeah.
Rec One says, my point isn't that Rudy isn't playing bad, but that Ainge kind of knew what will happen, that bad fit, and that they won't have any more assets to correct the mistakes. I think it's interesting. I think they do have assets to move in Minnesota. And I think they will move assets in Minnesota. I do. You can't sit when you have $100 million in those two players. You can't sit and hope. You have to, in my opinion, it starts with Russell, but there's numerous guys on that roster that you can trade.
Yeah, and I think what he's saying there, like, I 100% agree with you. I think what he's trying to say is that right now, today on this T-Wolves team, they don't have assets to fix the problem right now on the floor. Like, yeah, they have assets they could trade, and like they can do things, and they're gonna see what you just said, right? You just said it, like they have to do that because of all the salary they have on the books. So they will. But like, I think his point is that, hey, like Danny made this move partially because he knew that Rudy wasn't going to be some ridiculous force on that particular roster, but he also knew that Tim Connolly really liked Rudy Gobert, and so he saw an opportunity. And look, I don't think you're 100% wrong, but I'm definitely not going to agree with the fact that Danny Ainge is operating from a standpoint of making deals based on how they affect other teams. He's making deals based on what he wants to get done on his roster, and hey, if it screws the Lakers, great. If it screws the Suns, great. Right? Like that's like a secondary thing.
Yeah, and I think you look at the $31 million that D'Angelo's making, that's the guy you got to trade. It's an expiring contract. He has value around the league. I would trade him. I'm not a guy that's married to Jaden Daniels. I'm not. Yeah. And I think if I look at McDaniels' number, he's making $2.1 million. Yeah. That's a young player that you can trade Jaden McDaniels. I look at McLaughlin. I look at a guy like a Bryn Forbes who's making 1.8 and shoots the lights out.
Yeah, like, he can contribute.
Those are guys that I would be moving. And I think if you can get that $31 million D'Angelo contract that's expiring off your books, I think you have to do that because I think you have to find a way. But having said all of that, I still maintain that they're not a top 5 team in the Western Conference.
No.
I don't. I think Minnesota is incredibly dysfunctional. You know, Rec 1, deal for the just a theory though, because the trade itself, even if the Wolves season was good, is still a great deal for the Jazz. Absolutely,
100%.
Tanner Plummer, good morning, friend. Good to see you.
Hey guys.
Wait, Mrs. Monty watches basketball. Tanner says
hey
not
guys.
really. She was booking. It was funny. My wife is not. If you give her tickets to an NBA game, she'll be there. She loves watching it in person. She does not like watching basketball on TV at all. At all. She was actually booking some travel last night. We were sitting there trying to decide where, because like now I'm ready to go snowboard. So now we're going to go to a couple of places. We're looking at like Canada. You know, like there's a resort called Baldy in Canada that is amazing. We're thinking about going there. Like trying to get to Switzerland right now is just about impossible. But my point is that there's a bunch of places we want to go and snowboard. So she's looking at travel and I'm watching the game and pulling my hair out at times. You know, like it's interesting. Tanner also says, even when they lose, this team is a lot of fun to watch. Oh, it is. There's no doubt about that.
100%.
No doubt about that. Jazz Kitball says they also shot 29% from 3 and chucked up 37 of them.
Yeah, but I don't think that's enough. Like it's not like, again, the number's 40. Like we've been on the 40 train for a while. Like certainly last year's team, like the prior setup, but this team needs, with where they are right now, like this team needs 33, 34% on 43s. That's their magic formula, because once they do that, that opens up the driving lanes for them. Yeah. And it's this vicious cycle that they get teams into where they're shooting well, but if you go and you step out and try to run them off the line, they're either going to get to the rack and get open looks, high percentage in the paint looks, or you're going to foul them.
Our guy Skinny Dick Nick may have something out for you, man. He's like, Jacobius.
Okay.
Let's get the Kelly Olynyk hairstyle rolling, my guy. Grow it out. Let's go.
Can't do it. I actually have an image to keep. I actually have to like look professional on some level, so I don't get to wear headbands and stuff.
Well, I think it depends on which hairstyle. What about that right there? What about the What about the Lori Marketing?
Yeah, what do you think of that?
One of our listeners sent us all the Jazz and females because NFL memes did this, so now everybody's doing it. What about the THT look? Do you think you could go that way? What about the Mike Conley look?
Bro, Mike, my guy. Enough said. I don't even need to. No comment.
And there's the Kelly Olynyk look.
Ooh.
You're not down, huh?
Nah, I'm good. I'm going to pass on that one.
What about the Colin Sexton look?
I mean, that hair is pretty sick.
What about the Jordan Clarkson
JC,
look?
Bro.
The Jordan. I don't think that's terrible.
Dude, that's brutal.
That's not terrible.
That's brutal,
That's
bro.
not terrible. You think that's terrible?
Yeah, that's not good, man.
I don't think that's terrible. We'll see. Let's see. Crypto Dolphin Super Bowl. Yeah, I wouldn't be anything crypto right now. I'm sick of players having out-of-body experiences against us. You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong.
That's funny, dude.
And Joe did kind of have an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
He did have an out-of-body. I mean, he
59.
He was really good. And I don't think there's anybody – I thought that three was going in.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, that would have been incredible if he'd have made that
That would have been
three.
a capper.
Oh, my God.
Dude.
That would have been crazy. Not as crazy as football at 50. 10 of the hour, every hour on the Monty Show. Roll a little beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to this over the weekend. It's nice, dude.
Yeah, it's not a terrible beat at all. Football at 50, 10 in the hour, every hour, presented by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Papa Murphy's Pizza. Download the app, order online, and use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll get to the Utah Utes and the Oregon Ducks, so stick around for that. But I want to get into the NFL. I don't know, man. There's a lot of interesting storylines floating around the NFL right now. Justin Fields, and if you're new to the show, and I know we have a lot of new listeners to the show, I am a huge Chicago Bears fan.
Yeah.
I am all things Chicago sports, so I'm routinely in a pissy-ass mood because we don't ever win anything, right? This deal with Justin Fields is now getting out of hand. If you missed it yesterday, Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears lose to the Lions 31-30. Justin Fields sets a bunch of NFL rushing records and can't throw the football.
Right.
And a month ago, everybody and their brother in Chicago was calling for Justin Fields to be benched. Now all of a sudden he's the franchise quarterback we have never had, and he's the greatest thing since sliced Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Well, here's the problem. Lamar Jackson's not a great quarterback. He's a great athlete. He's a great runner. Well, guess what? That's what Justin Fields is, and I'm not buying it on Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to make the guy an H-back or a running back? Cool. I need a quarterback who can stand in the pocket and deliver the football with the game on the line, and Justin Fields cannot do that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that, you can't swing so far to the running game as a quarterback. Again, let's keep this simple. The best teams in the league have a quarterback that can do a little bit of running, and I wouldn't even call it running. I'd call it scrambling. They scramble as much as they need to, and then what do? They bomb it down the field. So that's what I'm saying. The running, it's special. His ability to run is special. There's no doubt about that. If you want to win Super Bowls, get a guy who can deliver the football and who has enough athleticism to scramble away from the defense.
Yeah, I am not a Justin Fields guy, and I'm telling you right now, the Josh Allens of the world, the quarterbacks that love to run, you just can't do it because eventually Father Time's going to catch up with you, and Justin Fields is going to find out what Lamar Jackson has found out. It hurts when you get hit in the NFL, and eventually it impacts your ability to pass, and neither one of them can pass. It is what it is. Okay, the Indianapolis Colts hired Jeff Saturday last week. I think we all saw that story. We talked about it a lot on the show.
Yeah. Another
Hall of Famer. This time it's Bill Cowher on CBS saying it was a disgrace. Now, by the way, it should be pointed out that Jeff Saturday came in, named Matt Ryan the starting quarterback, and they went out and won again. They beat the hapless Oakland, who plays in Las Vegas, Raiders.
Yeah.
That does not all of a sudden validate the hiring of Jeff Saturday. Is it a disgrace to the coaching profession to hire Jeff Saturday?
I don't know that it's a disgrace to the coaching profession. What I'll say is that I think that guys like Cowher are going to be pissed about this because of all the work they had to put in to get a job. And I respect that. I respect that, hey, Jeff Saturday basically got a, easy button for a hire. And these other guys had to work their ass off for 20 years in the coaching profession to get their opportunity. So to me, I understand why he's upset. I don't think it's a disgrace to the coaching profession. I think if the guy goes out and wins 10 games, if he wins 10 out of his first 12 games as their head coach, you can't say it's a disgrace anymore because the guy's got a proven track record. But let's not sit here and say that it was a great hire after 1 week. I'm not going to do that either.
And I also think this goes back to something that a lot of people have pointed out, that Jeff Saturday said to the Colts repeatedly over the last 3 years, I don't want to be a coach because I don't want to take time away from my family, and I'm interested in a work-life balance, and I have a great contract at ESPN. He was asked multiple times to come in and be a coach, then a consultant, and now he is a remote consultant where he's phoning into your team once a week. and then he all of a sudden accepts the interim head coaching job, hoping to be a head coach now all of a sudden. Like, it's a bad look. Football 50 presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza, 10 of the hour every hour. Should the Arizona Cardinals bench Kyler Murray? This is a tough one. Little Kyler was hurt. Colt McCoy got the start, played the whole game yesterday, and the Arizona Cardinals looked like a team who knew what they were doing offensively for maybe the first time this season. Colt McCoy certainly offered you a view into what could be without little Kyler, but let's get this right. Kyler Murray's your starting quarterback now and into the future. You paid him a massive extension. He hates his head coach. Frankly, he probably hates everybody because he's small and he's angry about being small. I'll be serious. He's just not a get-along guy. Kyler Murray's that guy who is, by some description, he is socially awkward. He does not like big media scrums. He's a guy that is not great in a locker room. He's not great on the field. He's a guy that points a lot of fingers. I think, unfortunately, for Arizona Cardinal fans, they saw what that team looks like with a real quarterback, but they know they're stuck with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, 100%. And you've made that bet, and now you're going to lay in it. And I think that you know, whether we're looking at Justin Fields or Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray, right? Like, these guys haven't lived up to either the money they want or the money they're making. And look, I love their games. Like, I don't even know what we're looking at here. I don't even see a human being on the screen right now. I just see some words, right? But like, the point is that Kyler Murray is someone. Oh, hey, little Kyler, there you are. Kyler Murray is somebody that has a ton of potential. But I just feel like because he's that guy you're describing, not the get-along guy, he's kind of, forgive my language, an asshole. Like, because you're that guy, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Well, and you don't change those guys that have social awkwardness in sports. You don't. When you look at the Ricky Williams or, you know, the guys that do interviews with their helmets on, Kyler Murray, the guys that aren't real popular with their teammates because they don't hang out with their teammates, Kyler Murray. You look at the guys that you never, ever hear from off the field because they never leave the house. Kyler Murray. Those guys rarely succeed in the NFL. Very rarely succeed. All right, let's wrap up football at 50 with the question of who's the best team in the NFL. Because, again, the answer is I have no idea. And thankfully, we are just at week 10 in the NFL. But if I look at the Baltimore Ravens, that doesn't feel like the best team in the NFL. They're 6-3 on top of the AFC North. I look at the AFC East with the Dolphins, a game up on the Jets and Bills. Not one of those four teams feels like the best team in the NFL, right? And now Josh Allen's got this leg injury because he threw an interception, went to make a play, and an offensive lineman fell on his left knee. So now he's dealing with an elbow and a knee. They don't feel like the best team. And I hate to say it, but I think it's arguably the Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles. Because until the Eagles, by the way, lose a game, I don't know who the best team in the NFL is.
Well, I mean, I think they have to be by default. You haven't lost, like, you know, and aren't they on tonight? Right, they're Monday Night Football tonight.
They are Monday Night Football tonight against the Washington Commanders.
So that's going to be a dub, right? You know, they're winning that game. You know, and so what does that take them to? 10-0, 9-0. Like, you know, you're in a position where, you have to say, and Tricky T, rejoice, enjoy your time as an Eagles fan right now because they're undefeated. They have to be considered the best team until they lose.
Yeah, Patrick Mann says another Giants win. You thinking buy or sell on the Giants? You got to buy the Giants.
Yeah, you have to.
Mainly because the quarterback and is playing better football, and I think defensively they actually make plays now.
And Saquon's healthy and looks good.
Buccaneers have found some momentum. Well, it's funny. Tom Brady's 2-0 since the divorce.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
You lift the weight of the world off yourself in your personal life, and all of a sudden you become a better quarterback. I think that's interesting. Let's see. Julio and Baby Gronk making a run. Julio Jones, that touchdown yesterday was unbelievable. To see Julio Jones run like that again, I didn't think we'd ever see that. To see Julio running down that sideline and banging into the end zone and getting up, I thought was unbelievable. Boyd Lake says the Bucs are spinning up Julio Jones. If he stays healthy, he's a game changer. Absolutely. I think he is absolutely a game changer. Let's see. PLL superfan forever says Jackson won an MVP. That's very true. But I don't want an MVP. I want a Super Bowl. And I think Lamar Jackson's a guy that's a reason the Baltimore Ravens are not going to win a Super Bowl. And I think that's a huge problem. And again, I understand I'm in the minority on Lamar Jackson. I don't want him to be my starting quarterback. Is he going to get paid? Yes. Should he get paid? Probably. Is he the guy you want to build a franchise around? I'm going to go ahead and say no. Papa Murphy's Pizza presents Football at 50.
Papa Murphy's presents How to Change the Way You Pizza. Step 1, carefully knead dough. Step 2, artfully spread sauce. Step 3, add fresh mozzarella and assemble toppings. Step 4, realize we already did all that for you, so all you have to do is bake it. For a limited time only, get the Hog Heaven Pizza with Canadian bacon, ground sausage, and crispy bacon. Papa Murphy's, change the way you pizza.
Yeah, buddy. Hog Heaven is back for a limited time at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Make sure you use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza. And the best way to do that is download the app. Super easy. The Papa Murphy's app is idiot-proof, so even Jake knows how to use it.
Correct. Yep.
I don't know why you're the punching boy today. I'm in one of those weird moods where I can't wait to be – I took NyQuil last night.
Yeah.
And I slept really heavy. Like I remember falling asleep and then my alarm went off.
How did you feel when you woke up?
A little sleep drunk. Yesterday was weird too. I slept until about 5 yesterday morning.
Which, in all jokes aside, for you, that's a little abnormal. Usually you wake up like earlier than that.
Yes. I usually wake up at 3:51 every day.
Yeah.
Slept till 5, found my way back to sleep at about 5:45 until about 8, so I woke up sleep drunk. But I was well rested, right? Had a very busy day yesterday. Got a lot of stuff done. It was awesome. Today, I woke up just feeling like, okay, yeah, that was a great night of sleep. But, you know, I have a little routine when I wake up. I automatically sit up in my bed. You know, I give thanks to the universe for waking me up. But, like, I stand up, I stretch, and I was just like, man, if I only had another hour of sleep.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was that kind of morning. But getting over it. By the way, Mrs. Monty tested negative for cocoa, so she seems to be out of the woods.
Good. Okay. Excellent.
She seems to be out of the woods. So Canyons, Park City Mountain Resort, opens on Wednesday.
Yes.
So we're going to do the show. Anybody who's going up to Park City on Wednesday?
Anybody trying to go for opening day?
Let's go. I'm so excited it's snowboarding season. I'm also so excited it's big football season. We have huge games, including the Utes at the Oregon Ducks. Let's talk about it on the Monty Show, presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Simply put, they don't make you pay them any money up front. There are no consultation fees ever. There are no big retainers. In fact, you don't pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. So you have nothing to lose. If you're asking yourself right now, hey, I got hurt at work. Hey, I slipped on the sidewalk at the grocery store. Hey, this guy hit me while he was looking at his phone. Do I need a lawyer? Yeah, the answer is yes. Yes, you do. If you're considering it or wondering, yes, you do. If you're thinking to yourself, well, my insurance company is going to protect me, you need a lawyer. No, they're not. Insurance companies have hundreds and thousands of lawyers. Why don't you? Get them right now at UtahAdvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business are the Advocates. UtahAdvocates.com. It is the Utes. It is the Ducks. It is Eugene. It's Austin Stadium. It is an absolute slugfest on Saturday night.
Yeah.
The Ducks are favored by 3. The number's 62.5 after a shocking Oregon Ducks loss over the weekend to Washington in what is only can be described as the Bo Nix game again, because Bo Nix got hurt, and watching Bo Nix try to navigate that offense without the ability to run the football tells you everything you need to know about Justin Fields. If your quarterback can't stand in the pocket and deliver you a win, he probably shouldn't be your quarterback. And Bo Nix is a hell of a quarterback in that when he can run, he is very dangerous. His running ability makes him a better thrower of the football. But if Bo Nix, and I believe it's an ankle injury, they're saying lower leg injury.
Right.
If Bo Nix cannot run, the Utes are going to eat him for lunch. And if you were ever going to win at Autzen, if you were ever going to go to Eugene and beat the Ducks, this is the weekend to do it. You know that they are massively dinged up. They're down an offensive lineman. It is November. It is going to be cold. it is Utah football weather. And in my opinion, Jake, I love this setup for the Utes. I got to believe they're going to win this game.
Yeah, and what I love heading into this game for the Utes is Tavion Thomas has a ton of momentum, right? Like, you ran the hell out of the football against Arizona this last week, and I feel like you're in a place where, you know, you have everything you need. Like, your quarterback's healthy, Tavion's running well. Obviously, what he just talked about with Bo Nix and everything happening, like, you're in a good position to come up with a big-time road win. And I think what's really interesting, I was thinking about this over the weekend, like, every single year lately, for probably like the last 5 to 7 years, it just seems like Utah is in the hunt. Utah is always in a position to go and conquer Goliath, it feels like. You know, go to Autzen and win this big night game in cold weather where, you know, you have to do what no other team has been able to do, essentially, right? And that, to me, is classic Kyle Whittingham. And the guy deserves a lot of credit. And I think you look at, you know, like Devon Vele as an example. Earlier this season, like week 1, right? What were the conversations we were having about Devon Vele? Hey, this guy, is he going to emerge? This guy's got to be a wide receiver 1 for you. Like, he's got to be the guy for the Utes to you know, thrive and succeed.
Yes.
That was before Brant Keithy was lost for the year, right? That was before any of that even happened. So now you're in a position where Vele has stepped up, it feels like. Vele has developed. Vele has turned into this option for you. So you can combine that with Dalton, with Tavion, you're in a good place. They have everything they need to go and get this job done.
Well, and I think your best point there is Tavion Thomas, because when you get the numbers you got out of Tavion, 180 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 22 carries, he's back. And I don't care if it's against Stanford or the Girl Scouts. When he puts up those numbers and he carries your offense, he makes Cam Rising a better quarterback. He makes Devon Vele a better running back. He makes the offensive line a better offensive line. This is the Tavion Thomas we've been waiting on all season long. And with all the stuff that's happened to him in his personal life and he's dealt with off the field, all the games he's missed because of it, it feels good to have Tavion Thomas, the workhorse running back, on the field as you head to Eugene and Autzen Stadium to take on the Ducks. Because without Tavion Thomas, you're not winning this game. Let's be very honest about that. Tavion Thomas is the guy that makes the motor go at Utah. If you can get him back, if you can get him 20 carries and 100 yards, and listen, I understand Sewell in that defense is very good. I get it. It's at Autzen where they don't lose, even though we're going to talk about their loss. They don't lose at home. And to me, this is one of those games. In 10 years, when Kyle Whittingham's retired with his feet up in front of the fire, we're going to look back on this coming weekend, and we're going to say, hey, remember that game at Autzen where Witt took the Utes up there and they won the game and they went on to win the Rose Bowl. Because that's what this feels like. This feels like a game where if you go to Eugene and you win this game, this feels like a game that can propel you to a Rose Bowl victory. This feels like a game that can push you into the upper echelon of college football, that helps you recruit, that helps you win, that helps you grow. This feels like that kind of real big magnitude game. Now, it's unfortunate that Oregon's coming off of a loss. It's unfortunate that they could not win this game. But boy, did it help the Utes and their chances to win this conference that Oregon lost. Because my feeling is the winner of this game is going to play for a Pac-12 championship. Mm-hmm. And my feeling is if you're a Ute fan, you're a USC fan. Because I think you need USC to win that game against UCLA, and I think you need the Utes to win that game at Oregon, and we need a Utah-USC championship game in the Pac-12. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like, you know, would anyone be surprised if next Monday, you know, a week from today, we were sitting here talking about some ridiculous victory and Tavion only having 100 yards, but 100 yards on that defense is a damn good performance, right?
Yeah.
Like, would anyone be surprised? No, we wouldn't be surprised. So I think your point earlier about the Bo Nix thing and, you know, not being able to run and the injury management with the ankle or what's presumed to be the ankle, like that to me is a huge deal because Bo Nix has this ability. And again, it should be stated, I'm not a Bo Nix guy. Didn't believe in him at Auburn. Like, the guy at Oregon has been Great. Okay, awesome. He is a home guy. When you're at home, different quarterback than when he's on the road. So you're going up there to play Bo Nix at home with a sore leg, essentially. Now, what does that look like on game day? Because if Bo Nix can scramble, that's different than not really being able to move. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think if you're Utah, you got to prepare for Bo Nix. Like, hey, he's going to be able to run a little bit. He's going to be able to do some things. And hopefully, you're hoping for he can't. Hopefully, that thing is wrapped up like nobody's business and he can't really run around. That's what you're looking for. And if that is the case, the Utes are not going to be favored in this game. But
they're -3, by the way.
They're -3 right now.
They're a 3-point dog. The Oregon Ducks are favored by 3 now today.
So, like, as we always say, when the home team's favored by 3, that's kind of a pick 'em, right? Like, that's kind of a
Vegas gives
game.
you 3 points for being at home.
Yeah, so, like, to me, I don't know, man. It just it adds up to me that Utah would have a great shot in this game. But, again, can't have, like, that's what I said about the UCLA game, right? What happened in the UCLA game? Cam Rising turned the football over multiple times, including a bad fumble. So you can't have that in this game.
You've got to play with the lead if you're Utah. Bo Nix is a different quarterback from behind. I mean, it just is. It's as simple as that. I think when you look at all the numbers and you look at it, I mean, frankly, the way that Penix played over the weekend was nothing short of remarkable. You look at the standings and you look at the fact that USC is 7-1. And I'm talking about in conference. Yeah. USC is 7-1. Oregon 6-1. Tied with the Utes at 6-1. UCLA's 5-2 in conference. Whoever wins this Oregon USC game, now you're in control of your own destiny. Remember, the Utes go to Colorado 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks from now, are we talking about the Utes heading for a Pac-12 championship game? I have to believe that you are. Because Colorado is terrible.
And I think
Colorado is 1-9.
Like, look at what points-wise, and I think this is a really fascinating thing. So if you just go through the schedule in a very efficient manner, right, and you look at how many points Utah typically puts up, you got 29 against Florida, 73 against Southern Utah, 35, 34, 42, 42, 43, right? Like, this is an offense that usually puts up somewhere between 30 and 40 points, somewhere in that range. Sometimes a little more, sometimes it's a little less.
With the exception of the Washington State game, where and I think that
Washington State was a 21-point performance.
Yeah.
Right.
You won that game with your defense. That's a game that you didn't have Cam, obviously, at the Palouse. But I agree with you, and I think that, again, I think Tavion just allows you to control the clock.
Yeah.
And I think if you can go to Oregon and you can play from the lead, you have to be winning in this game. It changes who Bo Nix is.
Got to be winning at the half, dude.
And if you can, and I think this may be the game where you figure out how important Van Filliger was to your lineup. I'm curious to see how much they get after Bo Nix's ass in the backfield. Like, how much is he outrunning? Again, obviously the injury, what have you. How much is he outrunning? How much is he, like, what is Bo Nix truly able to do? Because if you didn't see it, the final drive where essentially the game came down to a call where an Oregon receiver stepped out of bounds and then caught the ball. So it was illegal touching, because you cannot be, once you step out on your own, you cannot come back in and catch the ball, be the first guy to touch the ball. But Bo Nix actually delivered a throw that was a pretty good throw, and it was a really good catch if he hadn't stepped out of bounds. So the question is, can you trust Bo Nix? And because I don't think any of us question Cam Rising.
Right.
When he's right, nobody questions Tavion Thomas. My biggest question is, how difficult will it be for this defense at Utah to execute down in and down out, especially in crunch time, the last 4 minutes and the first 4 minutes of the second half, and then the last 4 minutes of the first half? Because I'm a big believer in that. I'm a huge believer in that. Win the last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 minutes of the second half, and then win the final 4 or 5 minutes of the game. If you can do that, you are 9 out of 10 times going to win the game. So the question comes down to, how much will this Utah defense be able to execute in those moments against Oregon? And I have to think that it's going to be significant. This is such an important moment in the history of Utah football. And I'm not trying to be like dramatic and overplay it. And I think this is a historically important moment for the Utah Utes. I do.
Yeah, I mean, going to Oregon, like, again, as we've been saying for a couple of weeks, like, you have everything in front of you, and as usual, just like last year, like, through the middle section of this schedule, you're like, all right, yeah, probably not going to be a great bowl game for Utah when you lost to UCLA. Probably not going to be a great bowl game when you had some of these other losses. And I think that, again, if you go up to Oregon, this is what I said about BYU going to Oregon, right? It's the same thing. Like, the stakes are high. Oregon is a nationally respected team. They're a college football playoff team. So that they're really good, but at the same time, that if, hey, we beat a team that regularly is in the college football playoff, that's going to skyrocket us up the rankings and thus put us in a better bowl. So it is a classic moment of Kyle Whittingham is going to have this team ready to go, and who's going to make more plays, and frankly, who's going to turn the ball over less. Because I have to say, this does feel like one of those games where Cam may turn the football over. And I love Cam. I'm not trying to hate on the guy, but the fact is you've turned it over in big games. You have this year. You have. And I hate saying that. I would love not to have to talk about it, but I think you have to be aware of it. And I think that against a defense like Oregon's, like, the potential for that is much higher.
Yeah, that's such an yeah. Man, I would love to go back and replay that game in Gainesville. Man.
Yeah.
You can't. I totally get that. But you just wish you could go back and replay that game in Gainesville. You wish you had 5 more snaps against UCLA. Like, it just, yeah. But this defense, I mean, what you're getting from Lander Barton, I know I say that every week on the show, but Lander Barton is absolutely critical. And he's playing really a big role. And, I look at some of the numbers and some of the performances. I think you're finally seeing, Diabate make a real impression consistently, showing up in big moments. I look at, just some of the guys that I think are going to be, critical to the success of this team. A guy like a Keanu Tanavasa making plays. Like, you've got to get better defensive line play. You've got to get better depth and performance on the defensive line because of a guy like Van Filliger being gone. So you're going to have to figure out how you can contain, and can you keep an edge? Can you set an edge and keep an edge against Bo Nix? Can you keep him inside but then not give it up through the A-gap to Bo Nix on a broken play or on a design QB run? Like,
can you stay home, man? Can you execute your assignment?
I think this is, again, I think this is such a huge moment in time.
Yeah.
In the history of Utah Utes football, in the history of Kyle Whittingham. I mean, it's going to be...
Dude, if they go to the Rose Bowl this year, that would be ridiculous. Like, I just want to say that now. Like, you may lose this game to Oregon, and all right, great, that ends your season essentially, even though you got to still play Colorado. But, like, dude, if you win this game and you get to a Rose Bowl or a bowl of that caliber, maybe it's a different bowl, but a bowl on that level, like it just would be another ridiculous performance out of Kyle Whittingham. Like, don't forget I think it was, what was it, 247 Sports or whatever, that interviewed Whit early in the season and asked him about retirement and like how many years you got left and all that good stuff. Like, this is a guy who clearly is still right in the middle of this thing.
He loves it. You can see it. He loves it. Utah Football Talk on the Monty Show, presented by Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. Listen, I know that you guys can go and buy your Traeger, your Yoder, your Big Green Egg, your Camp Chef. You can go buy that stuff anywhere you want. There's a million places. But the reason that you go to Barbecue Pit Stop is because of the human beings. You go because these are small businesses. These are entrepreneurs. They're franchises, right? Steve and the guys in Lehigh. Steve has done such a good job growing that business. But you look at all of the stores and all of the owners at Barbecue Pit Stop, whether that's Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. George certainly is a great store for Barbecue Pit Stop. You look at Murray. You walk into Murray, which is where we bought our grill.
Yeah.
We go in there talking about, hey, this is the way that we are going to use this piece of equipment that we buy.
Yeah.
And we told them we're wing people, we're brisket people, we're pizza people. Boom, took us right over to the Ironwood 885. Hey, here's why you want this one, because there's a smaller Ironwood as well. But hey, here's why you want this one, because it gives you more rack space. You can spread out your drumettes, because we as men only eat drums. We don't eat flats when we make wings, right?
Yeah.
So as men, we need more room for drumettes.
Right, you got to spread it out.
I think we know that. As men, when we're making those drumettes, that we're only going to dip in ranch because, again, as men, we do not use blue cheese for any reason whatsoever. But as men, when we dip those drumettes, because we don't eat flats in the ranch because we don't eat blue cheese, we need a little more rack space to let that breathe, right? But hey, by the way, that's awesome that I'm buying a smoker. What about that rub, that spice, that wing dust, that sauce, right? They've got that for you, too, at Barbecue Pit Stop. Oh, by the way, you don't have a butcher? Well, that's okay, because now if you go into just about every Barbecue Pit Stop, they have a full butcher shop and a butcher on duty. You go up to the Barbecue Pit Stop in Logan, it is by far the nicest butcher counter I think I've ever stood at.
Not for real.
You can get your wings and your brisket. My point is, no matter what you're looking for, whether it's meat, brisket, wings, whether it is the smoker, the Traeger, whether it is the spice, or just good people to do business with, Barbecue Pit Stop's where it at. And by the way, you don't have to take my word for it. Chat with them online.
Yeah.
You can actually go to BBQ Pit Stop and chat with them online. The guys at Barbecue Pit Stop are undefeated. I'm telling you that right now. Let's see. Tanner Plummer says, Mont, you sound like the Now That We're Men song from SpongeBob. Well, listen, there are things we know. As men,
Hey, guys.
we need to procreate, man.
Hey, guys.
Jake doesn't, but as a man, I do. I do, right?
Uh-huh.
As men,
Yes.
there are just things we do. I'm telling you, you can't eat flats. When you go to the Break, let's say, which is one of my favorite places for wings, or you go to Wingstop, you order all drums.
That's right, T.
That's just what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Right.
You know, so I'm just telling you now, you go to Super Chicks, you're not getting blue cheese. You're getting the best ranch in the world.
Yes.
Super Chicks, I say it every day on this show, Super Chicks cuts, pure Colombian into their ranch dressing. It's cocaine, dude. It's addicting.
So good, dude.
It's addicting.
Yes.
When we're going to eat drums off of the Traeger smoker, we go to Super Chicks and get ranch dressing.
Yeah,
because
literally.
we're men.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, I feel good. Wow. Tom Basilius says putting ranch on wings is disgusting.
Okay. Yeah. You go ahead and block button.
Yeah. How do we
come on.
How do we block Tom Basilius, who also says, are the Germans the best fans in the world? Yes. The answer is yes.
We're not talking about that. Next question.
Mike Maples, Cam is leaving, Thomas is leaving, gotta go while the iron is hot. Well,
Facts.
we say that every year. Travis Wilson left and
but
Huntley
this group
left
has been different, dude. This
group has been special with Quitter quarterback going to Liberty and
like
Cam
the way
stepping
this
up
coming
and
together has been ridiculous.
Stop. Mike. Flats are a one-bite wing and are great. Sorry, guys.
Dude.
Love them. No.
Dude.
Don't apologize. Just don't do it.
I'm not afraid to die.
I'm telling you right now. Listen, if you want estrogen and, hey, you want to be closer with your wife, eat flats. I mean, look, I'm all on board with that. You want testosterone, you want to lift weights, you want to have pheromones that drive the kiddies crazy.
But no one's going to disrespect me.
I don't know what I'm saying right now. I don't know.
Do you even lift?
I don't know. Connor Tulin says, Monty in the morning. Hey, that's us. Ken Williams says, off to work. Have a great day. Good to see you. Tom Basilius says, Utah has the blueprint to beat Oregon last 2 years or 2 times. Have to contain Knicks. I'm having flashbacks to Florida.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Let's see. PLL Superfan Forever says, Stanford sucks. No wonder Thomas had a good game. Oregon is a lot different. Well, I think Tavion Thomas can run on anybody. I mean, he is a stud.
Yeah.
He is absolutely a stud. Ken Williams says Ducks 10, Utes 28. I don't hate that score.
Okay, relax on predictions. It's Monday. Okay.
Jeremy Severe says, I feel like Utah will annihilate Oregon. Utah has had Oregon's number in the last 5 years.
Well,
let's hope. Tom Basilius says, future is bright for Utah. I really don't think Cam should go to the NFL. He doesn't seem like an NFL QB to me. Reminds me of a non-douche Tebow.
A non-douche Tebow.
Okay.
He's much better than
Yeah,
Debo,
I think Cam Rising can throw the football.
Yeah. Cam Rising has 4A NFL quarterback written all over him, meaning he is Colt McCoy.
Yeah, I'm nervous about it, but, Giggity says flats are only a one-bite wing if you put the whole bone in your mouth and suck on it.
Having fun is the name of the game.
Don't look at me. I never said they were one bite. I don't do the one bite technique.
Dude, he said
I don't
put
do
the
one bite.
whole bone in your mouth and suck on it.
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't know.
Oh, my God.
No, I'm not a one bite guy.
We had wings the other night in Mammoth.
Yeah.
Who ate the flats?
Nobody, because we got all drums.
No, you ate the flats.
No, we got all drums, dude. I swear to God, we got all. You asked him, dude.
Was that at the break then the other day?
Yeah. So in Mammoth, by the way, this bar we go to in Mammoth, amazing. Love this place. But we're sitting at the bar. This place is packed. It's hopping. Everything you'd expect.
I got dude with his butt crack hanging out his pants to my right.
You check all the boxes, right? There's always some douche in the bar who does that. But we're sitting at the bar. You ask the bartender, hey, dude, can we get 20 wings, all drums? Dude looks at you like you're speaking Russian. He's like, I think so. Like, yeah. And we were like, okay, can you or no? Or what do you mean?
Yeah.
And then he rolls out with all drums and a bunch of ranch.
But at the break the other day for lunch, like Monday or whenever that was,
yeah.
when they brought us wings.
Yeah, we had wings and club sandwiches.
And so we had drums and flats. Who ate the flats?
Yeah, I did. I came through.
And what did I tell you? What did I tell you? I don't eat flats. I'm a man.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Men eat drums. We don't eat flats. Let's see. Cam can throw. Tebow could not. I think exactly right. I'm sending Joey Diaz to your next wing outing to smack the ranch off your table, Tom Basilius says. Don't you touch my ranch. Do not touch my ranch. San Diego State Aztecs says, you cannot unsay that, Monty. Pheromones drive the kiddies crazy. Oh, my goodness. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? See, that's what you get on this show. Fat Jesus says, break a flat in two and then the meat just falls off. So much easier than a drum. Science, bitches. Okay?
You got to turn the drops up a little bit.
Bro, I don't want to hear about science. We don't eat flats in this town. We don't.
Come on.
Riley O'Brien says, good morning, casuals. What's up, Riley? Mike Maples says, whoa, giggity, it's not a popsicle. Hope you don't eat your T-bone that way.
Wow.
It'll be lethal.
Wow.
It's not a popsicle.
Wow.
Okay.
Pause, bro. Pause.
Kurt Meyer says, Tebow could throw. He just did not have NFL mechanics. Needed an extra second. Needed a lot more than an extra second.
Man.
He was not good. You can drop your score predictions. Give me a percentage. It's a Monday. Let's play percentages.
Yeah.
What percentage would you put on a Utah win at Oregon this coming weekend?
60.
60?
Yeah, I like them. I like them a lot.
I think it's 50-50.
I think that defense is going to come to play, even without Villiger.
Yeah.
Even without Villiger.
Oh, 60%.
This is a classic Kyle Whittingham tunes up the defense, causes a lot of chaos. And see, this is what I'm saying. This is why the Bo Nix thing over the course of the week really matters, because if on Friday the conversation is, hey, Bo Nix is still, like, let's say on Friday Bo Nix is in a walking boot still. He's going to play. He's going to start and he'll play, but he's in a walking boot. Okay, as a defense, if you're Kyle Whittingham, as a defense that you're in a much better place. If Bo Nix on Friday is on tape prancing around the practice field and looks amazing, you know what you're in for. So that's what I'm saying. Right now, percentages, knowing Bo Nix's leg probably hurts like hell, I'm going 60%. Now, that may come down to 40% on Friday if Bo Nix, if reports are saying that he's 80, 90% and really feeling good about it, the percentage will come down. But right now, I think you got to go at least 50-50. I'm more 60, though.
I think right now today, let's see what the injuries are for Utah. I mean, it was Stanford. They beat the hell out of Stanford.
Yeah.
But the thing I love about it is it makes you feel good, right? It makes you feel good. So, yeah. Ranch with Papa Murphy's is the best. Use the promo code Morning Guys. Oh, Cam Harrison, yes.
That's right, T.
I'm telling you, we had really good – Mammoth was a great trip.
Yes.
We had really good pizza in Mammoth as well. Put ranch on it. Now, I will say, with the Papa Murphy's, The hard part about eating Papa Murphy's is it diminishes everybody else's crust.
Yeah, it ruins everybody else's product.
The
'cause it's
crust,
so good.
the crust at Papa Murphy's is what the win is.
Yeah.
I mean, now obviously, all of the ingredients, the fresh vegetables. I'm telling you, the crust at Papa Murphy's makes life difficult everywhere else.
I want it.
Jeremy Bolton says, Caruso is dipping all his flats into blue cheese. I've heard that about him. Is it uncouth to put ranch on pizza? It's not. I'm telling you.
I don't think it is.
It is
the only
so
question
good.
is the only question about pizza and ranch is, do you dip your slice of pizza in the ranch, or do you use the pour technique where you hold the slice and you pour ranch on it? Because you're gonna make a mess of your ranch if you go with the dip route. You got to pour it on the slice, man.
I don't know about that. I'm open. However you get the ranch into your mouth,
What better fucking execution?
just put it. I'm not going to say that.
It's sort of a natural reflex.
I'm going to stop right there. Neville says, "Hey guys, good morning. I've been going through it a little. My little baby got COVID and me missed work a couple of days. It's been hard."
Damn, bro.
Neville, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy.
Hey, guys.
Neville, for those of you who don't know, Neville 93 is a longtime listener of the show. He just had a baby back in the fall.
Yeah.
And it's really tough, man, when your kids are sick, especially
The
when you have little
coronavirus.
ones. We know so many people that have little babies, and it's Neville, you're not alone, my
It's going
guy.
around, bro.
It is really, really tough. It is really tough when your kids get sick.
Yeah.
Tom Basilius says, Neville, you got this. Yes, you do. Keep your chin up. Just know that these days are short.
Yeah.
These days are short. Tanner says, you guys have ruined my life.
Hey, guys.
I walked into school on Friday, and some people are like, hey, Tanner, you've been S lately. Is that like, hey, you've been crabby lately? I hate you. LOL. I was kidding. That didn't happen. Okay. Okay, good.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so it didn't happen. Kurt says, Tanner, own it, man. Smile and knock it out of the park. Exactly right.
Hey, guys.
Exactly right. Ranch with pizza is perfect if you still use a juice box.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, dude. Listen. If that means I'm a child, I'm about it.
Oh my God.
It.
I love it. Tom Basilius says, crust and cheese, Jeremy. I'm in it for the quesadilla aspect. Wow. I don't think there's any problem using ranch on pizza.
I've dipped a quesadilla in ranch before. I'm not beyond that.
I don't think there's any issue with it. The biggest stories in sports this morning, as always, brought to you by our good friends at Quack Car Wash. Oh my God, you guys. I had a life-changing incident
Okay.
at Quack Car Wash yesterday. So, again, not to be redundant, we went to Mammoth. We drove through snow, sleet, salt. Of course, I'm going to Quack as soon as I got home, right? So yesterday, Mrs. Monty and I cleaned out the Audi, got all the stuff out of it, drove over to Quack, go through the car wash, and I find out that there is a Muddy Duck car wash. Their car wash, Quack, they have a service called a Muddy Duck. And I said to the guy, hey, man, the car's really dirty, so could you make sure, especially on the back, in the wintertime when you're driving through snow, the back just gets jacked up, right?
Yes.
So I said, hey, my guy, can you make sure that the guy in the tunnel sprays the back really well so it gets all the salt and grime off? He goes, well, actually, why don't we just do a Muddy Duck? Like a Muddy Duck?
What is
a
that?
Muddy Duck. He's like, well, we don't recommend it, and because I have a wash pass at Quack. He's like, but you have a pass, so, well, the problem is that it's so much water that it doesn't dry as well, so you may get water spots. Why don't you come back around and we'll run you through a second time if there's too much water? I was like, wow. Okay, so we do this Muddy Duck. There's not too much water. Because they have, the dryers at the Quack, especially this new one. Yeah, exactly. The dryer at the Quack in the district is brand new.
It's really
It's a hurricane
good,
force wind.
It's really good.
But that wasn't even the life changer. If your car's really dirty, go get the Muddy Duck.
Yeah.
We pull around to the vacuums because my floor and my cup holders, and it's disgusting in there right now.
Yeah. So
I'm vacuuming the car, and I notice there's like another tube, like another hose. I'm like, what? And I'm like, that just must be where all the stuff goes through to go to the vacuum pot, right? No.
Right.
I pull on it, and it's a whole nother attachment. It's a whole separate vacuum for your accessories.
Yes.
So it's, the long, thin tube?
Right, yeah.
Anyway, the long, thin tube with a thin opening on the end, yeah, you can stick it in your cup holders, under your seats, down the side of your seats. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing. Not to mention they have free towels for you as well to dry your car off.
Dude,
so
I'm telling you, they're super legit. Try them, please.
I had no idea what a muddy duck was. I had no idea. It was amazing to me. Tom Basile says, snap the Quick Quack duck neck by the beak. Can't support Quick Quack on duck hunting week. Sure you can. Because your car looks great when you go to Quick Quack Car Wash. But the biggest stories in sports, as always, on this show are presented by Quick Quack Car Wash. I don't think there's any doubt this morning the biggest story in sports is the Jazz losing back-to-back games. What is your level of concern about the Jazz losing back-to-back games? Because I actually am not that. I oddly am not concerned about the Jazz at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be concerned if, you had lost each of these games by, 10, 15 points. Like, if you just weren't even in the game. But you lost last night by 7, and really that was garbage time stuff. You really lost this game by 4. You lost this game by a possession and a half. And so to me, I'm not that worried about it. I look at this team and I say, hey, man, there's all kinds of stats and a bunch of different areas where you're just not doing your job. It's one thing to play the system, get the wide open look from the corner, and just simply not make the shot. Okay, make or miss league. We missed. That means we lost, right? You can live with that. But what we're seeing out of this team right now is they're not staying committed to the system, right? So what that means is, in simple terms, is you're not moving the ball. That is the lifeblood of this team right now. When they move the ball, they get wide open looks. And you saw it in the first quarter a bunch, and then you didn't see it the rest of the game. And you saw Joel Embiid put on this virtuoso, once-in-a-lifetime, oh, my God, performance. Yeah. So that's why I say, I'm not worried about this team. I just think that Will Hardy needs to get these guys an off day, get them back right mentally where they're focused on making the right play versus just trying to score. And once that happens, they're going to start winning again.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about it at all. I really am not. I think it's one of those things that this was inevitable. You're going to lose back-to-back games, and I think you come home and you get exactly what's ailing you, and that's the New York Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
So this next stretch is not going to be easy. It's Knicks Tuesday, Suns Friday, and then at Portland for the Blazers on Saturday, who are playing really well. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. Salty Drunk says chicken pizza with barbecue sauce.
Hell yeah.
The only thing you do is barbecue sauce. That's it. Again, I'm telling you that our guys have ruined pizza for us because now
every single time
we know when you go to Papa Murphy's, we tell you get barbecue sauce. So we went to a pizza joint in Mammoth and got barbecue sauce. And they were like, oh, that sounds good. It was good. Salty Drunk also says, waving my arms here.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? He says, Jazz have hit the inevitable wall. No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. Tom Basile says, Jazz were fun. The daydream is over. Going to have a salty rest of the season.
Nah.
No, I don't think so.
God, chill out, man. It's 2 games. If the Brooklyn Nets lose 2 games, everyone's like, oh, they'll bounce back tomorrow. Give the team a chance to bounce back. Washington is no pushover team. They are beatable, but they're a good team, man.
Yeah.
Give this team a chance.
Mike Maple says, no concern. This team making young mistakes, but they fight every game and every quarter. Totally
Agreed.
Fat Jesus says, any chance that Jazz just way overperformed and don't win 30 games? Man, that'd be tough.
Nah, I don't think so,
That'd be really
dude.
tough.
I would say that's true if they were just shooting 70% from 3 and they had these outlandish numbers, and that is why that was why they won the games. But that's just not what happened.
No.
You were getting, and let's not say they were manufacturing, because that's the word I want to use. They were manufacturing high percentage looks, and they were making those looks because they were uncontested rhythm shots. That's what you didn't do for 3 quarters last night, and that's what you did do for 1 quarter last night, and you see the difference.
Kurt Meyer says, are you guys giving tickets to Utah at Oregon? We are not.
No, sir.
Jeremy Severe says, what barbecue sauce would you use for a pizza? If I was making it at home, I'd use Sweet Baby Ray's. which is, I think, probably my go. I mean, I don't know. Do you have a favorite barbecue sauce?
I mean, Sweet Baby Ray's is super reliable. You know exactly what you're getting, and it's really good. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I can look it up while we do the show, but there's another brand. It comes in a glass jar. I have to look it up.
With the brown label?
Yeah, with the brown label.
Yeah.
I just can't remember what that's called.
Yeah, I would use whatever Papa Murphy's uses because their barbecue sauce is amazing.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the other problem with Papa Murphy's. Not to get sidetracked from Jazz, but like when you eat Papa Murphy's pizza, you start to realize I don't need to do like make my own pizza. Like, I just order it and then I'll pop it in the oven. Let's skip the whole dirty the kitchen and do all the dishes stuff.
That's why I eat so much Papa Murphy's
Like,
pizza. I don't want to do the dishes.
Yeah.
And the flavor you get with the Papa Murphy's pizza on the Traeger smoker
Incredible.
is ridiculous. You know, CM says, as a Knicks fan, you're about to get the W next time out. The Knicks need a trade desperately. And I know I keep saying that, but CM, the New York Knicks need to make a trade. And I will continue to ask the question, what are the Knicks waiting for? I don't understand this team and where they are, because you're not out of it in the East. I think they're ninth. They are ninth at 6-7. But you look at that loss to the Thunder, I thought was very telling, because I just look at the minutes distribution and I don't understand what this team is doing, giving RJ Barrett 19 minutes and 4 points. Like, I understand that, listen, RJ Barrett's up and down, but are you really playing Fournier and Quickly more than you're playing RJ Barrett, who you just extended?
Apparently.
And look, I think the world of Quickly. But if you're going to play Fournier 20 minutes and he's not going to score a point, why are you playing him 20 minutes?
Yeah.
This is a coach.
I don't get it. And I again say, and obviously without Mitchell Robinson, that's a big loss for them.
Yes, it is.
Totally understand that. But you look at the minutes distribution here, and this is why Tibbs needs to be punched in the face. I'm telling you, he's wrecking this team.
And they'll drop that money.
And I don't believe he will coach this team next year. A year from now, Tom Thibodeau won't be the coach of this team. And I'm telling you, he's wrecking this team.
Yeah.
And
it's frustrating.
Emmanuel Quickly deserves better run. The other guy that you have to look at and you have to ask yourself is, what are we doing with Quentin Grimes? Why did you not trade this guy? Why? What is it about this dude? And I don't know why I'm so in-depth on the Knicks. I pay attention to the Knicks. I have no idea. I don't know what you're doing with this team.
Not the right thing.
RJ Barrett is not a star. He's just not. I'm telling you now, he's not that guy. Emmanuel Quickly needs to play more minutes. Let him have a 4-point game, because every once in a while he's going to have a 30-point game. And at some point he's going to come to the middle and be an 18-point guy. Give the guy more minutes, right? Like, listen, and I understand the Obi Toppin thing. I totally get it. I understand why Obi Toppin plays 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But are you really telling me that your best option for backup center right now is Isaiah Hartenstein?
Bro.
And I like Hartenstein. I think that was a good pickup. But he can't be starting for the New York flipping Knicks. This team has a lot of assets and they have a lot of room. And if they are not aggressive at the deadline, they don't want to win. They don't, because they got blown out. Essentially blown out. They gave up 145 points to Oklahoma City.
With all due respect,
you scored 135 points and you lost. You lost.
Come on, guy.
Like, you don't have the coaching, you don't have the stars. Like,
No.
I actually think Jalen Brunson's been worth the money.
But he wasn't, like, you signed him thinking he was going to be the Jesus Christ of point guards, like that he was going to save you.
God. You make my head hurt. Why didn't you trade Cam Reddish? And I like Cam Reddish as a player, but he can't be starting.
No.
You cannot start him. Like, you There's my Nick rant for the day.
Good talk.
I feel better.
Really good talk there.
I feel better.
Yeah.
CM says, I agree we need to consolidate assets. RJ was playing terrible that game and believe he was trying to send a message. That being said, he needs to go. Yeah, Tibbs needs to go. There's just no doubt about that. Yeah, Josh Giddey's incredible. He's a really good player.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that. Loverin, good morning, Coach. He says RJ Barrett is a younger Andrew Wiggins.
I don't know about that.
But in one respect, I think RJ Barrett needs a change of scenery to blossom.
Probably.
I don't think that he will grow as a Knick. I don't. And you extended him now, and you got to hang on to him for a bit here. You should have why did you not make the Donovan Mitchell trade?
Yeah, take it. See ya.
This drives me crazy in the NBA, and so many GMs make this mistake. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you right now. Why did you say no to the Jazz? Because they wanted Quentin Grimes and an extra draft pick. So you said no to Donovan Mitchell, who's having an MVP caliber season. You said no. Are you better off because you said no to that trade right now?
No, I guess not.
So you're not better off. Okay, so how can you be better off? You go and make a better trade. How are you? Where are you going to get a Donovan Mitchell now? There's no Donovan Mitchell just hanging out there. I mean, where are you going to find Donovan Mitchell? You're not going to find a guy on that level or higher because that guy doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
He's not available, right? Like Devin Booker's not coming through that door anytime soon in a trade.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening. So you look at the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders of the world. Is that happening? You're not getting
who I am.
You're not getting Kevin Durant, who could be one of the more employable guys.
Is that a real question?
How are you going to find a better deal to make you a better team? I don't know. Are you the Bradley Beal destination?
That's out of the window.
Are we on the wrong side of Bradley Beal, who's not playing in Washington right now? Probably. But hey, Jackalope, you should have made the Donovan Mitchell trade. You should have made that trade. The Lakers should have made the Bojan Bogdanović, Malik Beasley trade. They didn't. All these teams that are struggling, because I got to hold on to my draft picks. Victor Wamba and your mama. Oh, my God.
Oh, shit. Damn, I am tripping.
Great. Where did that get you? You signed Jalen Brunson, Leon. Now you're 9th in the East. Congratulations, but you suck. You're 9th in the East. Who cares? You're irrelevant.
Congratulations, you suck.
That's serious. Like, it makes me crazy
that
these GMs, I don't get it. These GMs that won't make trades. Has Rudy been successful in Minneapolis?
No.
He is not. But you got to credit them for making that trade.
Yeah.
They took their shot. Now they've got to go and make other trades.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks didn't even take their shot. Well, we got Jalen Brunson. I guess we'll sit on it. Well, cool. Enjoy that. Enjoy that. The Knicks should be better. It is so frustrating to me. It is.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
It is so frustrating to me. And the RJ Barrett, let's go back to the argument we had over the summer. Because when we were inundated with Knicks fans, you don't know, RJ's a stud.
Hey, you guys are casuals.
What did I say? He's not athletic. He's soft. And he's not a guy that you can give him the ball and say, go win me the game, because that's just not who he is. And he got outplayed by – do you guys understand he got outplayed by Cam Reddish the other night?
Yes.
Do you understand that?
I'm going to say this again.
He got outplayed by RJ Barrett got outplayed by Cam Reddish the other night.
I want you to listen to me.
Words I thought I'd never say. RJ Barrett got outplayed by Cam Reddish the other night. Arguably, RJ Barrett's their most important player. He can never get outplayed by Cam Reddish.
Well, he did.
And kick a person when he's down.
It just makes me crazy. Mars, like OKC, needs to build with European players to have long-term success. Mars? What do you mean Mars? What did I miss about that? Sam Presti is a god. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Skinny Dick Nick says Papa Murphy's is by far the best vegetable supreme I've ever had. Oh, Mrs. Monty's go-to is the veggie supreme.
I can't get over dude's name.
What? Skinny Dick Nick?
Yeah.
Hey, we all just have to own who we are, phallically speaking.
Well?
Okay, listen. I'm 6'4", man. You know, I wear a size 15 shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, take it. See ya.
It is what it is. What do you want from me? You just got to own it.
You are what you are.
That's all you got to say.
That's all I have to say.
You just got to own it, man.
That's all I have to say.
You know.
That's it. You know what I mean?
know.
Like, you know.
You know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where do you think Jay Crowder ends up, Fat Jesus says? Well, I think he may end up nowhere because the Suns have a stupid astronomical. They're asking for 2 number ones.
Yeah, that's too much.
For Jay Crowder.
Yeah, and this is the Kevin Durant situation all over again, where you've got a guy that is a malcontent and wants to be moved.
No, that is the Kyrie Irving situation all over again.
Yeah,
another team that should have traded. They should have made the Laker trade. They should have sent Kyrie out.
The ink isn't dry yet.
Am I wrong?
No, it's the same thing. They're all 3 of them are malcontents.
I don't think KD's a malcontent. I think Kevin Durant saw a really bad situation. I think now that we're out of it a little bit, Steve Nash was a huge problem for the Brooklyn Nets.
This case is empty.
Steve, he's a Hall of Fame player. He's a first-time coach. He was going to do it his way or no way. I totally understand why and how that happened. That was not the right fit.
Yeah.
And now that Jacques Vaughn is there with that awesome gray beard of his.
Stud.
Dude. And I'm happy for Jacques. He's a really good dude. I've gotten to talk to him several times at length. Jacques Vaughn is a really good dude.
Yeah.
I'm really happy for him. You should have made the Kyrie trade. They should have traded Kyrie Irving. And I look at the Lakers, you should have given up those 2 firsts for flipping Beasley and Bojan Bogdanovic. Because you could have had Mike Conley as well. The Jazz would have bought out Russell Westbrook, and he'd probably be a Nick or a Net right now. It's incredible to me. And again, you know who else I'll point to on this? I'll point to the Golden State Warriors. Yes, it's better trade James Wiseman because it's falling apart at Chase Center right now.
Yeah.
They need.
I know.
No, it's more than that. I'm telling you, the Golden State Warriors need to make a James Wiseman trade. Kuminga, I can see the future with Kuminga. James Wiseman is absolutely unplayable right now. He is a guy, defensively, he is a problem. You need to go and make a James Wiseman trade, if only to give him a fresh start and get yourself out from under that. You need to do that. And I think this has a potential to be one of the busiest Decembers in the history of the NBA. Because I think trades are going to start going down in December.
Yeah.
I don't think teams are going to wait for January and February and wait right up to the deadline, February 10th, by the way. I don't think teams are going to do that. And there are so many teams in this league who should have but didn't, so they will in December. Whether that is, I think the Jazz are going to be busy. I think the Nets are going to be busy. I think the Lakers, Golden State. I think Orlando's going to make a transformative trade.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many teams. Miami, did you guys hear this FTX crypto exchange thing is a big freaking deal.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys hear FTX, who was a massive crypto exchange, not dissimilar to the New York Stock Exchange?
Right.
FTX, and we don't know what happened at FTX yet. I don't think it was the crypto crash, the other things. Anyway, FTX goes out of business, files for bankruptcy. They had major investment in the Miami Heat with their arena. That's all gone now. That money's done, right? Mm-hmm. Like all of the investments they had around the NBA, they had patches on Major League Baseball uniforms. Like, this is a big deal. Miami's going to have to offload money, I'm telling you. Because you can't just give away millions of dollars a year in an arena sponsor. And they don't own the arena, right? Miami-Dade owns the arena, American Airlines Arena, which was FTX Arena. But that's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
A ton of money. By the way, who else in the NBA lost money on that deal? Steph Curry. Lost a lot of money on the FTX deal. That deal is going to push people around, in my opinion. That Miami, that's another team that's got to make a trade. The Knicks got to make a trade. Like the Chicago Bulls, again, for those of you that are new to the show, I'm a huge Chicago Bulls fan.
You're so fucked.
And I'm telling you, they're a terrible team.
Yeah.
They are a terrible team. It's not as sinful as missing football at 50 by 3 minutes, but I mean, it's bad.
Yes. Don't let the Knicks stuff pull you down, man. Knicks are a bunch of casuals.
And I said this Thursday. Vibe with me on this groove here, man. Just bob the head a little bit.
Yeah.
If
feel
you're
it.
10-2 if you're driving, but
feel
now
it.
look at be dancing and look at the person next to you. Give them the hey, right? Football at 50, 10 of the hour, every hour, presented by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Order through the Papa Murphy's app right now. Use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more. Papa Murphy's Pizza presents Football at 50. What's the biggest story in the NFL? I actually think this Packers-Cowboy game yesterday.
Yeah.
I think this is a huge turning point for the Green Bay Packers because they have an easy schedule. You look at the Green Bay Packers now, and I don't know how they did it, but Minnesota essentially won the division with being 8-1, winning at Buffalo. That was a huge win for them. But you look at the Green Bay Packers at 4-6. They beat the Cowboys 31-28 to end that 5-game losing streak. They're home for the Titans at the Eagles. That Eagles game, I think, represents their last most difficult game outside of the North.
Yeah.
Because then it's at the Bears, home for the Rams, at the Dolphins, home for the Vikings, at the Lions. Because I actually think the Dolphins are going to come back to earth here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's not a cake schedule, but there are definitely a lot of winnable games there.
That's not a tough schedule.
The Rams can beat you.
The Rams don't have a quarterback. They're down both. John Wofford got hurt in replacement of Matt Stafford yesterday. They're in trouble. The Rams, I think Sean McVay's coaching his last year with the Rams.
Could be.
I think they'll make a coaching change. I look at the Dolphins. The Dolphins are making a living beating up on, in my opinion, crappy teams. They've beaten the Patriots. The Ravens at the Ravens is a good win. The Bills in Miami, okay, that's a good win.
Yeah.
Bengals, Jets, Vikings, they lost all of those games. They got healthy against the Steelers, Lions, Bears, and Browns. So you tell me who the Miami Dolphins are. Are we going to find out against the Texans? We're not. Are we going to find out at San Francisco? Yeah. I think actually San Francisco won a massive game against the Chargers last night.
Yep.
That's a great win.
Gnarly hit on your boy.
Yeah.
Dude,
how about that by Dre Greenlaw?
Dude, that Herbert hit was gnarly.
And Herbert was fine, but Herbert was diving forward. He got hit. Greenlaw was coming across. He essentially, I can't remember the guy's name for the Bengals, that dirty-ass linebacker for the Bengals, but Dre Greenlaw took his shoulder and helmet and put it into the ear hole of Justin Herbert. That was nasty. He was ejected from the game for that. At the Chargers, at the Bills, Packers, at the Patriots, Jets. We're going to find out who the Miami Dolphins
no
are.
joke of a schedule.
That's a difficult schedule in the NFL, and I think the Dolphins are coming apart. I don't think the Dolphins are legit. I really don't. That's just me.
But we'll see. I mean, I think Tua's done better than people thought he would.
You do?
Yeah, for sure.
What about Mayor and the Chicago Bears? They had a record-breaking performance again from Justin Fields, but you lose. And the Bears are now 3-7, dead last in a crappy NFC North.
Yeah.
But is Justin Fields a legitimate NFL quarterback? So obviously the comparison for Justin Fields is Lamar Jackson, right? I mean, they're both runners. They make historical performances with their legs. Like, we all get that. But what else do they have in common? They can't stand in the pocket and deliver the football.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's the biggest deal. I'm a diehard Chicago Bear fan. I understand. I'm 49 years old. We've never had a legitimate franchise quarterback with the Chicago Bears. But it wasn't. No. And the thing is, everybody says that. Well, Jim McMahon took you to the Super Bowl. That's great. But for all he is, Jim McMahon's not a franchise-level quarterback. And neither is Justin Fields. And neither is Lamar Jackson. So this idea that all of a sudden Justin Fields is this game-changing quarterback, he's not a franchise-level quarterback because you can't put him in the pocket and tell him to deliver the football with his arm and win you a game.
Yeah.
Because he cannot do that. And I'm telling you right now, and listen, he's a gifted runner. A month ago, we were all talking about cutting the guy, and he was an incredible draft bust. Now, all of a sudden, because Homie figured out he can run a little bit, he's like the game changer, and we need to sign him to a 50-year contract?
Yeah, I think...
Hell no.
Look, I think people want guys like Lamar, Justin Fields, or hell, even Kyler Murray. You know, in Kyler's early days in the league, everyone wants to go to the Mike Vick comparison. Hey, man, this guy can run like Mike Vick. But what nobody talks about is Mike Vick had a cannon, bro. Mike Vick could throw the football 70 yards, no problem, and did that routinely. So that's what I'm saying. It's not just about being able to run. You
correct.
have to pass the football effectively to open up green pasture in front of you, not the other way around, which is what Justin Fields is doing right now.
Now, I'm also going to tell you that the best game of the day yesterday was Minnesota and Buffalo.
Yeah.
I have no idea. No idea how Minnesota won that game. And I have no idea how anybody can make an argument that Justin Jefferson's not the best receiver in the NFL.
Dude.
Somebody make an argument. That's the greatest catch I've ever seen. I don't know how he caught that ball. I have no idea. Kirk Cousins, again, my guy, Kirk Cousins,
Kirk,
who's always right.
Good old with chains and ice.
Yeah, good old fat ass over here told you 5 years ago, Justin Jefferson. I meant to say Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
That guy's a legit quarterback. Can he do it in prime time? I have no idea. But mid-afternoon, Kirk Cousins did it again in Buffalo.
I'm telling you, daylight Kirk Cousins.
Mid-afternoon. It's mid-afternoon, please. It's mid-afternoon, please.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins, 30 of 50. 357. I did. A touchdown, 2 picks. Josh Allen, 29 of 43, 330, a touchdown, 2 picks. And I just think he got outplayed. I think Josh Allen's coming back to earth a little bit. And his need to run the football is going to ultimately get them because he's hurt again with this left knee thing because, yeah, you can't turn the ball over and then fight for it underneath offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Josh Allen has to learn to stop playing hero ball. Take off the red cape, and you're going to probably replace the red cape with a gold jacket if you do that. Because the guy is a Hall of Fame talent who just cannot stop playing hero ball. And the Buffalo Bills are now 6-3, and they've lost a home game. They've lost their swagger. They've lost their swagger. Football at 50-10 of the hour, every hour. Presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Make sure you use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Mm-hmm.
There you have it. Boy, that 2 hours in the books already, friends.
Just like that.
2 hours in the books already on the Monty Show, presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com.
You just can't comprehend how much energy there is in a collision like that. This vehicle was coming towards me, and it swerved over into my lane and hit me head on. Spent 9 days in the hospital. There was just no way I was going to be able to do all of what needed to be done on my own. I called the advocates, and we got the paperwork started then and there. They were able to do things for me that I couldn't have done myself. If someone I knew got in an accident, I would tell them to contact the advocates.
UtahAdvocates.com. Absolutely. If you've been in an accident, and I know that you guys hear all of these commercials, so get a rack, check, and your mom. I understand there's a ton of injury attorneys.
Right.
I've known Matt Triggs and the guys at the Advocates for over 10 years. And I know the quality human being that you're dealing with there. The breaker for you should be that they don't ask you to pay them any money out of pocket. You do not pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. So there's no consultation fee. There's no retainer.
Mm-hmm.
None of that. They help you defer your medical bills. The advocates do a lot of things, but they help you get your financial house back in order after an accident, because we all think about, hey, I got to go to work and then the grocery store and I've got Girl Scouts with my daughter tonight, or I've got football with my son tonight, or hockey, or, yeah, by the way, me and the boys are hanging out. We've got football on Saturday. Well, where does your car accident fit into that? Where does your injury at work fit into that? How are you, by the way, have you thought about what happens when you get in an accident? Well, the good news is the advocates have.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to help you. They're ready to help you. Chat with them online for free right now at UtahAdvocates.com. It's a great feature. There's a live chat box there. And hey, if you're one of those people who's not comfortable talking on the phone, absolutely chat with them online. If you've been asking yourself, hey, do I need an attorney? Yeah, you do. If you're asking the question, the answer is yes, chat with them online at UtahAdvocates.com. Let's get some of your thoughts in here. We've been talking a lot of NFL on Football at 50. Salty Drunk says, lose that tune as soon as possible. The good news is Quint Randall says, love that tune.
See what I mean? Like, you know, see, the problem is for Salty, I don't know if you're being serious or if you're just doing the hating thing because that's your brand.
He says it's smoking weed music.
No, I don't think so, bro. I don't think so.
You know, Boyd Lake says, nah, or he goes, meh. Not NFL music. The problem is we were using NFL music, and then we got a copyright flag on YouTube the other day.
Schemers trying to control their little worlds.
So we got to find a song. I don't know. Vote. Do you want to know? Do you want a new song?
Don't complain about the music. Provide me an alternative. How about that?
Yeah. Mike Maples says Jefferson's catch or OBJ's catch. Couldn't believe Jefferson didn't let that touch the ground. I think it's Jefferson.
Yeah.
The catch Justin Jefferson made yesterday, if you haven't seen it, get on Twitter.
The difference is Jefferson had a defender all over him. OBJ was open. Hell of a catch. Catch.
It's a one-handed catch over his head, essentially blind. There's some luck in that. I think in the Justin Jefferson catch, that was just a hell of a football play.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you explain that catch, Mapes, but I think I would probably lean. Justin Salas says, biggest NFL news is how the AFC East went from being the weakest division to the best division. I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But are the Jets a legitimate Super Bowl contender? They're not. Are the Dolphins? They're probably not. The Buffalo Bills are because they've got defense and offense.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good division. There's no slice in that. How many of those teams are legitimate NFL Super Bowl contenders? The Jets are, with all due respect to Zachy Poo and his mom.
Right.
I mean, I don't think that.
No.
I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders. I could be wrong. You know, Boyd Lake says you can find all kinds of royalty-free, low-cost NFL music to use, easy to find. He says also, by the way, the guy you were trying to think of, Vontez Perfect. Exactly right.
Vontez was a...
Justin Salas says, just another win for Jimmy G where he doesn't throw a TD. Guy may be the greatest game manager of all time.
Hey, man.
The problem is you ask him to win you games and he loses you games. And, I mean, for the first 3 quarters and between the 20s, the guy is cash.
Yeah.
But you're right, Justin. I would agree with that. Kurt Meyer says, I hate to say it, this is how about the Eagles QB, Justin Hurts? Jalen Hurts, rather.
Jalen Hurts, yeah.
He is an MVP right now. Josh Schmo says, morning, Monty. Alabama.
Roll Tide.
How do you guys feel about the AP Top 25?
Fucking A.
Yeah.
Alabama's 8th. We're going to lose. Ohio State and Michigan, one of those two is not going to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
They're going to play each other. TCU, they're 10-0. They legitimately belong there. If Cincinnati was there last year, TCU belongs there.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee at 9-1. LSU 6 at 8-2. LSU's going
Hell of a win,
LSU's going to the college football playoff. If they win the SEC championship game, they're going. USC or UCLA, who's winning that game? That's at the Rose Bowl. It's going to be packed.
UCLA.
Jacked.
Yeah. UCLA is winning that game.
No, they're not. USC is.
You know what I have a problem with the AP Top 25? People are saying today that the Pac-12 is the deepest conference in the land because they have 5 in the AP.
Not. It's not.
And it's such a gimmick to me. Like, sure, they have 5 in the AP, sure. But if you put Oregon State, who's 25th in the country right now, against who's top SEC team right now? Tennessee? Is it
Tennessee or LA? No, Georgia.
Georgia. Duh, Georgia. What am I even talking about? So if you put Oregon State against Georgia, against Ole Miss, against Mississippi State.
How about that Alabama-Ole Miss game?
Come on. Yeah, hell of a game, dude. Hell of a game.
Jackson Dart's a legit quarterback, by the way.
Yeah, and you've been saying that since his SC days.
He's legit. That kid can play. By the way, Utah 10th.
Yeah, good ranking.
How is Utah behind Clemson? Should Alabama really be 9th or 8th?
No, that's disrespectful, dude.
Is Alabama better than SC?
Disrespecting me, bro.
Yes.
Alabama's not better than LSU.
Well,
I think I could put him 7th. Is Alabama better than Tennessee? No. Tennessee beat Alabama.
Yeah, the tough part about Alabama is and this is okay. See, this is the classic conversation with the AP. Like, how much does your track record come into it? Because I could easily make the case that Alabama beats LSU 9 out of 10 times, but they didn't beat them this year, right? You didn't beat them this year. So that's my problem. Like, if you ask me if they're better, I do think they're better, but not this year.
I think Alabama has the best quarterback in football.
Yeah.
I think Bryce Young is an absolute stud. But you know, I look at how that offense is built, and I don't know that they run the ball as well as you would like. And I actually think they're not as talented outside as we're used to. I mean, I think they went through some generational wide receivers in Tuscaloosa, and it's very difficult to keep that up.
Facts.
But that defense is good. I mean, it is. I mean, they don't win that game without Byron Young. They don't. I thought he was spectacular. I mean, that whole. I mean, we could talk for days about Willie Anderson on his own. I mean, Willie Anderson's a stud. I just look at Jalen Moody. I look at McKistry. I look at, all those guys. That's a really good defense that's underperforming. So, and by the way, can we please stop with this nonsense? Oh, Nick Saban. Nick Saban's finally over the hill. They're coming apart. Nick Saban's he's not a god anymore. Oh, Brian Kelly owns Nick Saban's ass now.
Hey, guys.
Okay, well, you go ahead and have Brian Kelly. I'll take Nick Saban every day.
Yeah.
That's the best coach in the history.
You're out of your element.
They're not falling off. My guy, they're 8-2.
Yeah.
I said they're 8-2. Oh, and they're falling off.
Yeah.
Your school is having a probably one of their worst seasons in modern football history.
Yeah.
And they're 8-2.
How about that?
Fuck, what that mean? I mean, I love that. Well, Alabama's falling off.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you not recognize how much of a shock it is that Alabama's not in the college football playoff? Stop. I have on a fresh pair of Air Jordan 1 lows, and I still think that Nick Saban's amazing. I don't know what my shoes have to do with it.
I don't know either.
But it is good.
Yeah.
I'm loving football right now, dude. This is as enjoyable as football has been for me in a long time. Greg Hawkins says USC, Utah, Oregon, Washington, UCLA, Oregon State.
Yeah.
I mean, I think who's the best team in the Pac-12 right now? I don't know that we have an answer to that.
You have to say it's Oregon.
I think I actually don't think you have to say it's Oregon.
Well, it's not Washington, and it's definitely not Utah.
But I think this is what happens in the Pac-12 every year. They feast on their own selves. Like, they are a bunch of cannibals.
Yep.
But I think that's every good conference, right? I think there are 3 teams. I think legitimately it's Oregon, Utah, and USC. I am not a UCLA believer.
What you mean? You've been a UCLA guy.
I'm a DTR guy. I am not a Chip Kelly guy. I am not a UCLA guy. I think UCLA... I don't think UCLA is a bad football team. I think they are an incredibly flawed football team. And when it's September and October, you can get away with that. Okay? I think Utah had one of their worst performances, and that's what it took to lose to UCLA. Okay, but it doesn't matter. You lost to UCLA. But I think that USC is still, in my opinion, the best team in the Pac-12 because they're doing it week in and week out, no matter who's wearing the uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at now, Dye, I don't know how many people saw that Dye is out for the year. He essentially broke his leg. And you start to understand that when we really look at the Pac-12, how many teams in the Pacific 12 Conference are really good? I don't think there is any doubt that the best defense in that conference lies in Salt Lake City.
Mm-hmm.
And just as much, I don't think there's any doubt that the best offense, arguably in the country when they're healthy, is the USC Trojans.
Right.
And I understand that people get upset about, my affection for them. And I really don't care much that they scored 55 points on Colorado. I think Colorado could arguably be the worst P5 team in the country.
Yeah.
Because it's garbage.
But I look at the fact that Miller Moss got on the field for USC, their backup quarterback. I look at the fact that you did not have to play basically any of your top guys, and you still scored 55 points. Now, there's no doubt that Travis Dye's injury is a game changer for them. He's a stud.
Yeah.
But so is Austin Jones. So is Rayleigh Brown's a guy that nobody even knows his name. You're going to find out his name over the next 3 weeks.
Yep.
Because that kid can play football. But I also go back and I look at the names. Who knows what position does Kyle Ford at USC play? You don't know. You have no idea. Brendan Rice, you have no idea. Taj Washington, you have no idea.
Who the f*** is that guy?
Well, those are their top 3 receivers this week because everybody else is hurt. So if we're truth telling and we want to talk about depth and we want to talk about quality and we want to talk about where the real talent in this conference is, it's in Los Angeles. Let's say, and you can hate USC. You don't have to like it.
Mm-hmm.
USC, in my opinion, depending on who plays, and there's absolutely real value in that question, who plays. But they're a remarkably talented team. And Travis Dye being out is a huge problem.
Yeah, they have
problem.
a lot of talent, man. They have a lot of talent. They
But
need to
I
win
look
something.
at if you are not going to have Jordan Addison on the field, that's a real loss for you. And I don't know what his status is, but they also haven't had Mario Williams on the field in a couple of weeks either. Those are their two best receivers, and I don't think it's close. But again, Taj Washington is a guy that you ought to pay attention to because my guy can play. And I know that there's a lot of anti-USC folks in these parts of the woods, and you should be. That's a really good team. They have a really good coach, not the best coach in the Pac-12. That's Kyle Whittingham. But they have a really good coach in Lincoln Riley. This is year one, and they're kicking everybody's ass essentially. And they lost to Utah. And my guess is, my hope is, we get a rematch of that game in the Pac-12 championship game. Because that's what I think this conference deserves. But we'll see. Where do we go from here? Yeah, there's a lot of hate this morning. Boyd Lake says, Alabama has the best defensive line that can swing the QB by his face mask. LOL. Well, they certainly did that, didn't they? That was gnarly.
Yep.
I don't know how his neck is attached. Fat Jesus says, UCLA lost to Arizona. It's embarrassing. Not
Arizona.
But isn't that if we're in all honesty,
hey guys.
in all honesty, isn't that who Chip Kelly is?
Yeah.
Has he not always been that guy? When did Oregon win that big game? I'm still waiting for your answer. Right? I mean, he had all this talent. He had Phil Knight's money at Nike, and look at all of our helmets. Ooh.
Right.
And you don't win big games.
Right.
Sometimes I think I just say shit.
By the way, you should be undefeated because you should have beat Washington. You should have beat Washington.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, you shoulda, coulda, woulda. Pac-12 is having a decent year. Yeah, good, not great. You're exactly right, Greg. Good to see you, my friend. Tom says Alabama's dynasty started with an L to Utah and will die with an L to Utah this year in the Rose Bowl. Go Utes. Okay. Jeremy Severe says BYU would kill multiple people for the season Alabama is having. They would. They would absolutely assassinate people.
Well,
no doubt about it. Fat Jesus says, if Alabama had fallen off, where is ASU? Jeez, Louise. Cheese and rice. Don't even ASU.
I don't even know, dude.
Joe Schmo says maybe UCLA. No, bro.
Eucla.
No. Joe Schmo says I can't stand Chip Kelly. Nobody can.
He's a casual.
Nobody can.
You're a casual.
LOL, all this Pac-12 hate. There's a lot of Pac-12 hate. I don't think it's a deep conference. I think there's three legitimate
it's ridiculous
teams.
to say it's the deepest conference in the country.
No, I look at, and we can have this argument if you guys want to have this argument. If you look at the SEC,
yeah,
and I will plainly and simply point to the LSU Tigers.
LSU Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Right? You look at LSU. They've played Florida State, Southern Mississippi State, New Mexico, at Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama, Arkansas. They'll finish with UAB, A&M, and Georgia. That's a hell of a schedule. They're better than Alabama, Ole Miss, and Hail State.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I thought you said Hail State.
Yeah, Mississippi State. Arkansas, Auburn, Texas. Jimbo Fisher's a joke.
Jimbo.
They are, in my opinion, LSU. And I think we all know they've clinched the West. So they're going to play for the SEC championship. But you look at Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss is legit.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is absolutely a legit power. And I think those are five teams right there that can win every single game that they play.
In the Pac-12, you mean?
In any, I don't care if they play it on Mars.
Yeah.
They can win that game. I think Mississippi State is good, not great. I don't know how you explain Texas A&M because they can't fire Jimbo because the buyout's like $1 gazillion.
Jimbo, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think his buyout is more than Jeff Bezos' net worth. How about penis-shaped rocket ship saying he's going to give all his money away? Yeah, you and everybody else, because you make more money on giving it away than you do keeping it.
Yeah, seriously.
Arkansas can beat anybody that they play.
Yep.
Like, I think they are 6-7 teams deep. Make me the argument that the Pac-12 is 6-7 teams
Oregon
deep.
State versus Mississippi State. Yeah, I take Mississippi State as well.
But I'm being serious. Make me the argument. Somebody make me the argument that when I look at USC, Oregon, and Utah are 3 absolute legitimate, beat anybody they play no matter where they play them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Utah should probably be a one-loss team. They've lost 2. Fine. Who has confidence that UCLA with Chip Kelly calling the plays can beat anybody anywhere? Because I don't. I don't believe that for a second. I look at Washington. Washington, God bless you for beating Oregon. Now go back to being anonymous because nobody cares. You're, as a team, you're not a great offense and you're not a great defense. We call that mediocrity. Okay?
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. I'm not kidding. Tell me how Washington at all, without the Jimmy Lake scandal, is relevant last year. Since Chris Peterson and Pete Kwiatkowski left that program, they've become irrelevant.
Yep.
And Chris Peterson could have any job in the country he wants. And Pete Kwiatkowski is now calling the defense at Texas. So they're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And Washington's not.
Yeah, Washington's just kind of chilling.
And Oregon State is that team. Oregon State is that team that everybody's like, oh, they're so cute. Look how neat. Let me pet their head and look how cute they are. And they don't win games.
Yeah.
Oregon State doesn't win. They're 4-3 in the conference.
Yeah, they were that cute team 3 weeks in.
They were.
Yeah.
And they're that cute team. Oh, nobody wants to go to Reser Stadium. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I know what time it is.
You're not that guy, pal.
Yeah.
You're not. Like, Oregon State is good. They're not great.
Yeah.
I don't need good. If we're going to make an argument that, oh, the Pac-12 is this unbelievable. Look at the size of their testicles.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
You're not that guy. You're not that guy. You're just, Oregon State's not that team. And Washington State, oh, the Palouse, suck it. You lost to Utah without Cam Rising. We beat you with some guy you've never heard of.
Donnie, please.
You're not that good.
Yeah.
Oh, but Arizona, Jed Fish. Yeah, well.
Arizona.
Turns out Jed Fish is a fish out of water.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
See what he did there? Jed Fish, and then he said fish out of water. So it's like his last name is Fish, and then he used a fish, analogy.
I mean, it's cool that Cal, who's 3-7 and 1-6 in conference, fired their coaches.
That's fucking interesting, man.
Should have done that 18 months ago before last year. You didn't.
Oh, my God.
Stanford, Cal, Colorado, Arizona State, and Arizona, I think, lose 9 out of 10 games to anybody in the SEC.
Yes, correct.
And 10 out of 10 games to Tennessee, Alabama, LSU. I mean, they're going to lose every single time. Georgia's the best team in the country by far. They're going to lose 20 out of 20, 100 out of 100. Any of those 5 teams will lose 100 out of 100 to Georgia. Yeah. They have no way today to beat Georgia.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think the SEC is clearly better. I mean, and that's why I said, like, this argument that the Pac-12 is super deep or somehow the deepest conference in the land is complete trash, and there's no way to justify it. And this is what I say every week about the AP. We always want to do this thing where we're like, oh, my God, TCU deserves to be in the college football playoff. The Pac-12 is the deepest conference in the land. Alabama's falling apart. You notice how it's always this outlandish stuff. It's always this nonsense or like this over-the-top stuff. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I hate the AP, because there's so much conjecture that goes into it. There's so much like, what are the storylines? Did Jimmy break his leg this week, or how are we looking? Like, that's what the AP is about. There is not a universal yes or no, you did this type thing.
But you know the best part about this? My USC friends are all texting me, you're being a dick right now. Okay. Tell me I'm wrong.
The fuck out!
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. But that's the thing. This is what Pac-12 fans do. Our conference is the best. No, they're not. Yes, they are. Okay, tell me how they are. Because I said so.
Schemers trying to control their little worlds.
That's what Pac-12, USC, UCLA, like USC fans are just untenable. Like,
And with all due respect,
I mean, I seriously want to throw you in front of a train so I don't have to listen to you anymore. You're gonna lose to Notre Dame. My guess is you're gonna beat UCLA, and then, like the typical a-holes you are, you're gonna lose to Notre Dame.
How about that?
You're gonna, because that's who you are. You're USC. You're USC. You're not. Pete Carroll and his bazooka bubblegum aren't coming through that door. And until, Lincoln Riley, we hired Lincoln Riley. All of a sudden, Lincoln Riley became like the greatest coach ever. Man, wow, unbelievable.
I want more.
Until you figure out he can't cover the middle of the field.
Hell no.
His defenses suck. They're average. They can't cover the field. Oh, well, but that's okay, because Trey Dye broke his leg and now he's out. So, I love that. So, what are you going to do without Dye? Nothing? Assholes. USC fans are just...
What an idiot. Oh, what a loser.
Greg Hawkins. The outlandish stuff is Jake saying that anyone is saying the Pac-12 is the best conference. Oh, it's not any... People
are saying that, dude.
Yeah. We're the deepest conference of champions.
It was all over Twitter yesterday, man.
It was.
Like, I'm not just making it up. Like, people are saying it.
It absolutely was. That's why the Twitter thing is... So somehow I wound up, as somebody pointed out I wound up with a blue check mark on Twitter. Do you guys understand that I have been a Twitter Blue subscriber for $3 a month forever, since they rolled it out, just because I have sausage fingers and I need to edit tweets. It's constant.
What would I do without you?
Yeah, it's a huge problem. I cannot type to save my life.
Right.
So I subscribed to Twitter Blue, I don't know how many months ago.
Long time ago.
So I could edit my tweets.
Yeah.
And really the other benefit is we can tweet longer videos.
Well, and you can color code your timeline, and there's some other minutia stuff.
So now all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, by the way, now you get a blue check mark. I don't know how that happened, and I actually canceled my Twitter Blue subscription now.
Yeah.
I guess I have until December because I paid for the rest of the month. I'm not. No. Twitter is a cesspool. I won't. Let's see. Justin Saul says, being in the top 25 does not make you a good team. I mean, Baylor was top 10 at one point. True. Joe Schmo says, DeBoer is legit. Yeah, Washington. Kalen DeBoer is absolutely legit, the head coach at Washington.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. He's got to build program there. They should be better. Washington's that team that plays in a major metro that should be better, should be able to recruit, and all the kids wind up going to Oregon.
My fucking ass.
You just can't win there.
Yep.
And then you hire an idiot like Jimmy Lake, who is a complete dumpster fire because, that's why. Justin Saw says, you're telling me there are only 22 better teams in the country than Coastal Carolina. Yeah, there's not. There's not. Kurt Meyer says, I heard a Bulldog is set. I don't know what you mean by that. Little Jizzy. Little with a picture of a, I believe that is a Focus ST. Mostly Utah fans and the commissioner trying to hype the conference up that much. Yes. Salty Drunk says, can Utah beat Oregon? You mean
yes.
When will they?
Yes.
They will. We were just asking for credit for doing stuff well instead of getting made fun of then compared to other conferences all the time. Like when you give BYU credit for winning, Greg says.
Greg, I'm sensing some bitterness. Is there some bitterness there?
What does BYU have to do with the time of day in this conversation?
Why are you distracting? Why are you trying to,
What does BYU have to do with anything?
Yeah.
BYU's not in the Pac-12. They're not going to be in the Pac-12.
Right.
Yeah. There's no reason to bring BYU into the conversation.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Tom says Utah versus Oregon is going to be nearly as good a game as the USC game was. I cannot wait.
Yep.
This coming weekend in football, in the college football world, is by far my best, most favoritist ever flipping weekend. I think when you look at just the fact that you get, like, Michigan, Illinois should be a really good game in the Big Ten. TCU at Baylor is going to be a really good game. It's going to be a really good game.
I know you've changed when you said Michigan, Illinois.
Illinois is actually fighting for their lives, and I think Illinois can actually do some things. But you look at some of the ranked games coming up, like Georgia, Kentucky at Kentucky should be an interesting game. That's at Kroger Field. That should be an interesting game, right? Ohio State, Maryland, I don't care. Clemson, Miami, I don't care. But you look at some of the late window games, including Utah and Oregon, that's on ESPN. You look at USC and UCLA, that's a massive game. By the way, one of the more interesting points about that game is, does anybody know where to watch UCLA and USC?
Yeah, it's probably on like FS15.
It's not assigned yet.
What?
There is no, I don't know, and maybe I've missed it, but there's no TV assignment for USC, UCLA yet.
What? How?
Well, but that's what I'm telling you, is that it's going to be a real problem if that game is not readily available. Because man, I'm telling. Anyway, my point is,
it's on Fox.
It is. So it is going to be the Fox game.
USA Today 22 hours ago put out this article saying that it's gonna be on Fox.
Finally, okay.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for that.
Woo.
We've been waiting for that. But you look at some of the late window games, like it's gonna be amazing. That USC UCLA game is arguably
5:00 Pacific time on Fox.
The most compelling game.
Yeah.
Of the weekend.
Yeah.
Next to Oregon and Oregon and Utah.
I think nationally, SC UCLA is way more compelling to most people, but Oregon Utah should be the game. Yeah.
I think the Oregon Utah game is the game of the weekend. I think it is.
Well, to be clear, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying, again, this is the Utah conversation. Nationally, USC UCLA is going to be more watched, I would think.
Yeah. Sure. I don't disagree. I think it'll be more watched.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest game of the weekend is the Utah Utes. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's for the entire deal. Now, of course, Notre Dame and BC. I mean, that, you know.
Thanks for coming, guys.
How embarrassing is it to be Notre Dame right now? You're playing it at, bro. You're playing at 2:30 Eastern. In the second to last week of the season. How embarrassing is that?
It's really embarrassing.
Come on. Well, we're 7-3 though. Who cares? You're Notre Dame. You should be 9-1.
Yeah.
You should be. They legitimately should be 9-1 with their one loss being Ohio State. How did you lose to Stanford? Bueller? Anybody want to explain to me how?
42-7 for Utah, and you lost to Stanford.
How? And Stanford is a terrible football team right now. How did you lose to Stanford? And how did you lose to Marshall? They should be
lost to Marshall.
But I'm serious. Notre Dame should be 9-1. They should probably be the number 2 team in the country with their only loss, and it would probably make them 3 because it would be their only loss, which is Ohio State.
Oh dear. Oh my.
So they would be number 3 in the country right now because Georgia by far is number 1. At that point, Ohio State's number 2, and Notre Dame at 9-1 would be number 3.
Yep.
But you're not. But they're that team, and I'm telling you right now, they're that team that goes to the Coliseum and beats USC.
Yep.
It is what it is. I love it. I absolutely love it. Jeremy Severe says, why do USC fans care about the Pac-12 anyway? You're leaving them. Because it's all fun to talk a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
You know, like it's all fun. Greg Hawkins says, LOL, I do not believe this at all, Jake. I'm pretty pulsed into Utah Twitter and have not seen anyone saying the Pac-12 is a deeper. I wish I could see who it is now. I tend not to get into those conversations anymore.
I don't go deep into Utah Twitter. That's the difference. With all due respect, I'm not a Utah fan or a BYU fan. I don't go like down the rabbit hole or just follow Utah Twitter. I follow college football Twitter, like people who cover the game, like national analysts, like you have to keep your pulse on the national image, or you will get like kind of your blinders onto just the Utah conversation. What I'm telling you is nationally, and a couple accounts locally are trying to make the case that the Pac-12 is the deepest conference in the land with 5 in the top 25, and I just couldn't disagree more. I
just don't think the top 25 means that much anymore. If you're top 10, okay, that's meaningful. Where Utah is, by the way. Greg also says, I've listened to you guys for a year. I can hear your hate for us for miles and miles. I am a passionate fan of this conference.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. If you've listened to us for years, you know the arguments we've had about and with Larry Scott. I think he's been on our show 2 times. Once at Pac-12 Media Day, once right after that. And we had huge arguments with him. Like, I love Pac-12 football.
Yeah.
I'm a passionate supporter of the conference. I am a big Utah fan because we cover them on a weekly basis, right? But the issue with the Pac-12 is the way that they schedule their games makes them largely irrelevant when we get to December. It's been a huge problem.
So what are we supposed to do?
You can't. USC should be playing 1 day a week, and it's Saturday every single week, period. But they continue to make the same mistake over and over again. Thursday, Friday games have to go away.
Yeah.
Sending your Utah to Pullman to die on a Thursday night 2 weeks ago has got to stop.
Yeah.
Utah's a national championship caliber program. They should schedule like that. Yet they don't. It's brutal. It is absolutely brutal. And if you think that I'm anti-Utah, you don't listen to, and I know you do, Greg. I am not anti-Utah in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So the next question that's probably going to be asked, I would assume, is, well, you talk way more BYU than Utah. Well, why is that? Because BYU fans show out. BYU fans are alive and well to have the conversation.
Well, we talk, there's a very simple reason we talk BYU. BYU has a massive fan base. BYU has, I can tell you right now that if you look through the history of our channel, there's a reason that we talk so much BYU and not as much Utah, because Utah videos don't do well because the Utah fan base is smaller. So, by the way, have we said the words BY and U next to each other at all?
Nope.
Today, we have not.
Nope.
We have not. Hey, by the way, that reminds me, BYU basketball is doing a meet and greet for fans tonight at Chubby's in Orem. The entire team is going to be there from 6:30 to 8. You can get pictures, autographs. 15% of the proceeds from that event go directly to the players. So again, Chubby's in Orem tonight for BYU basketball meet and greet, 6:30 to 8. All of them will be there. It is going to be a great event. If you're a BYU fan or a BYU basketball fan, absolutely make sure that you go and check out the meet and greet at Chubby's tonight in Orem. All of the BYU guys will be there. And really, these are the events that you need to turn out at, because it really goes a long way for people like Chubby's to continue to support BYU basketball. People like Coug Connect, who, again, I think is the best NIL collective easily in the state of Utah.
Yeah.
They do great work for BYU athletes. It's people like Coug Connect and Chubby's that help support the players. So show up at Chubby's in Orem tonight, meet your BYU basketball team, and 15% of the proceeds from that gate go to the BYU basketball players. So it's a big night. All right, let's get a couple more of your thoughts in here. Cody Strickland says, yo, bros. Hey, just joined in. Good morning. Cena title for today. I just say this. It's 2 losses. I don't even feel bad about it. I didn't feel alarming, and I still believe in this team is doing good. He's talking Jazz, and of course you do. And feel free to mix back in your Jazz talk, by the way, here at 8:36 on the Monty Show. Let's see. Joe Schmo says, Monty knows the pack. He rattled off names of 5 wide receivers on USC's depth chart. I am a passionate fan of the Pac-12. I love Pac-12 football. The only reason I got hired at ESPN is because I am passionate about the Pac-12.
Let's settle this right now.
That right there tells you there's not a whole lot of media members, and Wilner and Canzano and those homers don't count. When you look at guys that cover the Pac-12, how many are there and how many names do you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know John Wilner. That's really it. There's not a lot of guys out there. You might know Pac-12 names like Yogi Roth, but how many guys truly out there talk Pac-12 on a week-in, week-out basis like we do?
Yeah.
We talk a lot of Pac-12.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is. Yeah. Anyway, Joe Schmo says making USC play on a Friday night was stupid. It was.
And they do
it was
every
asking
year.
for trouble.
And I don't know why it's rocket science to understand that, Oregon, Utah, and SC really should never play during the week. They should play on Saturdays. They're your best chance to get in the college football playoff and make more TV money.
Yep. CKS says, from what I see, Utah fans know there is no college football playoff. It's all about the Pac-12 championship in the Rose Bowl. I think that's probably true.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to justify putting a Pac-12 champion in the college football playoff.
Yep.
It's going to be really difficult. I don't know who you put in. Like tomorrow night, the college football playoff rankings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now, obviously Ohio State and Michigan, whoever loses that game is done. You're not getting in the college football playoff. Because I think there's a real good chance you can settle down, Sparky. I think Tennessee, if they win out, gets in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be really difficult to keep Tennessee out.
Yeah, they got to be in, dude.
Because I think Georgia's in. I think even if Georgia loses, let's say Georgia loses to LSU, Georgia's getting in.
Yeah.
Georgia's the best team in the country. At that point, so let's presume that Ohio State wins. So take out Michigan. I got to think TCU. Right now, TCU just doesn't have. I mean, this game at Baylor this weekend is a dangerous game. But, I mean, Iowa State after that, you're better than Iowa State.
Yeah.
As good as Iowa State has been, this year they've been terrible. I mean, they're not a good football team. You would presume that they're going to beat Baylor and Iowa State, right?
Yes.
I mean, TCU.
Yes, absolutely.
TCU is going to win the Big 12 championship. I think they're getting in. So the question is, who's the fourth team? I don't think it'll be Michigan, assuming Michigan loses to Ohio State.
So right now you're presuming Georgia, Ohio State, and TCU are in.
Yes, and I'm presuming that Tennessee will be that fourth team in.
Yeah.
I have to believe. It's LSU or Tennessee, and I don't see LSU.
Man, that was a timely win, though, for LSU, dude.
Yeah, but I don't see that LSU can beat. Can LSU beat Georgia? Sure, they can. But, I mean, are you really?
Yeah.
I have a tough time seeing LSU beating Georgia.
I'm sure a lot of people want Tennessee to have another bite at the apple with Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, that game is in. The SEC championship game is set. It's Georgia LSU. That's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like at Mercedes-Benz. You're not
Final.
You're not beating Georgia in that stadium, in that moment.
Not.
Stetson Bennett is playing out his boho.
Yeah, you're not beating them there.
Anyway, my point in this is I think Tennessee's getting in.
And the point is we do talk a lot of Pac-12 on the show. So
we do. Tennessee's got South Carolina and a 1-5 Vandy team.
So those are 2 wins.
Those should be 2 wins.
Yeah.
Right? And both those games are on the road. I mean, I got to think Tennessee gets in. I got to think they get in.
I mean, I would think, but they got to win.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Let's see. Put up a poll. I'm going to take a guess that there are more Utah fans here right now. I don't know. By the way, no matter who you are, can you give us a thumbs up? All 125 of you. Give us a thumbs up, and let's see. Okay.
Okay, so we're making the poll, play-by-play. He's typing in the question right now.
A fan of, let's see, Utah or BYU? Utah, BYU. Ask the community. There you go.
Okay,
there's your
the
poll right there. Who are you a fan of? Utah or BYU?
And no mail-in ballots on this poll, okay?
Yeah, that's not this state.
All in person.
That's not this state. Let's see. All right. So I put up a poll. Done, Tom. Put up a poll. Ragnar says, looks like you're going to be at Chubby's. I am not going to be at Chubby's tonight.
No.
Cannot do it. Lil J says, BYU basketball needs to sign Tim Schloss. Okay. Greg Hawkins says, Utah fans aren't listening because they're smaller. They aren't listening because they've only heard you talking trash on the conference since 2020. It's not talking trash. What have I been wrong about the Pac-12? And Greg, I think this is a really important conversation, actually.
Yeah.
Everybody said we were talking trash about the Jazz. Then when we turned out to be pretty much right point for point, it was like, how many people came around and were like, man, you guys nailed it.
Yeah, I thought you guys were just hating on Rudy.
Rudy Gobert. How's Rudy done in Minnesota? He's irrelevant. You can't pay that guy $41 million and build your team around him. What have I been wrong about on the Pac-12? I think we've been pretty good on the Pac-12, right? I think we have people in the right places so we get good information, right? We've told you this conference is not going to steal from the Big 12. This conference is not going to get a massive TV deal. It is like George Kliavkoff's a terrible commissioner. He's done a terrible job.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. So my question is, what have we been wrong about? I don't know. And by the way, I think we've roundly supported Utah. Having said that, I know it pissed a bunch of Utah fans off that we said that USC is the best team in the conference. And today, I still think they are. I think they're very close. I would put it as a tie. I think Kyle Whittingham's a better head coach, but I think there is an enormous amount of talent on that USC roster. When you let go of Jackson Dart, how many people panicked? A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, you got Caleb Williams. Like, they're really good. Really good. Monty, I've been here since 6 a.m. and no Coug talk. I hate the Utes, but love the show. Go Cougs. Because we're not talking BYU today because they're playing Utah. Good to see you, Chris. Joe Schmo, Utah fans I know back in 91 told me Utah fans chanted FU BYU after the legendary Scott Mitchell win in 1990. I'm sure they did. Most Utah fans I know hate Monty, and I sit here and defend him because I think he's a good guy, but generally believe he's a BYU homer. I know you aren't, Monty, but that's a legitimate feedback. We talk more BYU because BYU has been more relevant.
It's a business proposition, dude. We're not from the state. We don't live in Provo. With all due respect, I could give a damn about BYU and their success. The reason we talk about it is because they are the most relevant team in the state.
Yes.
Jaron Hall is the best quarterback in the state. Sorry, Cam. You're not an NFL prospect at the starting quarterback level. Like, that's my belief. I could be wrong, right? Hey, we can have that discussion. But what I'm telling you is Utah fan tends to get really salty and tends to not show up when their team wins. It's funny how when you beat up on Stanford 42-7, we got all kinds of Utah fans here. Funny how that works, isn't it? But when Tuiaki needed to be fired, when the program was on the verge of destruction going to Boise, BYU fan was here. So I love you, Greg. I really do. But don't sit here and call us BYU homers because we're not. And we're not Jazz homers, and we're definitely not Utah homers. We're sitting here talking about what it is.
I think, and Greg, I know Greg pretty. I would call Greg Hawkins a friend of mine.
Yeah.
I know Greg pretty well. I think we tend to be brutally honest about things. And I think that, look, Utah has been the best team in the state for a decade. There's no question about that. I think Utah's success, BYU has not come close to what Utah's accomplished. But Utah, I think because of the Pac-12, the damage the Pac-12 has done to Utah is that most national media members don't watch Utah.
With all due respect.
Because they don't see Utah. We didn't know. How is it possible that we didn't know for a few days where USC and UCLA was going to be? That's crazy to me. I don't know. It is what it is. Like, I understand why Utah fans get upset. BYU, you're in a town controlled by the church. BYU is going to get far more run than Utah. That's not anything to do with us. And yes, we talk far more BYU. Frankly, it makes us more money. It grows our audience more. It just is what it is.
It's a business proposition, man. And like, Greg, you're here every day, and I give you a lot of credit for that. But I'm talking about, like, big picture, Utah fan doesn't show out when the team loses, right? Like, Utah fan doesn't want to have a conversation, and that's fine.
Utah fan does not show up when the team loses.
Again, with all due respect, not joking, like, all due respect, I love you, bro, but, like, we're not going to sit here and talk about, like, the Utah State fans who are always like, oh, you guys don't talk Utah State. Yeah, because it doesn't make us any money and because it's just not relevant,
when we talk about Utah State, we don't get views.
Lose viewership. Like, we can see how many people are watching live. We've tracked it. We lose viewership when we talk Utah State, which is why we never talk Utah State. And I'm not even trying to be an asshole about it. Like, that's just kind of the existence we have, you know?
And there are a lot of people, and there's a ton of Utah fans who are like, if you don't use a Utah thumbnail, I won't watch the show. Okay.
Cool.
But there's nothing, I'm not going to, it doesn't matter. We could beat this point into the ground. I think you have to understand that no matter who your team is, you're going to get the honest, unvarnished truth. Hell, that's the tag of this show, the Truth in Salt Lake City Sports Talk. That's our mantra.
The essence.
It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're BYU, Utah, the Jazz.
Real Salt Lake. We're not talking Real Salt Lake because, frankly, they're like 5th on the totem pole here.
Yeah. But I appreciate you bringing it up, Greg.
Yeah. Like, it's not that I'm mad at you, Greg. I'm just
Greg
saying,
says,
like...
First of all, Jake, I said you weren't a BYU homer. I defend you to that criticism. I appreciate that. Second of all, I'm here after every loss, and it's a bald-faced lie if you're talking about me. No, you are.
No,
you're
I
absolutely
said you're here. I said,
yeah, you're
I'm not talking about you.
Greg, you are.
Yeah.
You are. And I enjoy guys like Utah Pig Bus or...
Yeah.
I mean, they're like guys like Salt Lake Jake on Twitter. Like, it doesn't matter if we lead with Utah for a month. We don't talk about Utah enough. If we talk about BYU one single time, it's you're pandering to the church. Okay.
But you see what I mean? Like, you have this
You can't
core,
win for losing.
Dude, you have this core group of Utah fans. Greg, you're in that core group, right? Who are always there. But what I'm talking about very specifically, and I need you to hear me on this, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about from a YouTube, our livelihood, putting food on our table every month conversation. We're going to talk more BYU because BYU has a national fan base that puts 1 million people on the TV every single week. And then that fan base, probably 200,000 of those fans, I would say, based on YouTube analytics, are around and watching and are consuming content.
We do about 150,000 unique views a month on YouTube.
In the state.
That means 150,000 different people, individual people.
Yeah.
My guess is that 2/3 of that is BYU fans. My other guess is that not very much of that is Utah fan. And Greg, you're exactly right. Utah fans, the biggest issue is if you ask a Utah fan about our show, they will say we kiss BYU's ass. They will say that constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can't do anything to change that other than to say that we haven't talked a minute of BYU football today because they're playing Utah Tech.
And we didn't really talk about it last week either.
We've done a full hour. Yeah, because they were on bye.
Yeah.
So this week we've done a full hour. Today we've done a full hour of Utah in Pac-12. And then we did 30 minutes earlier. Like, when it's time to talk Utah, we'll talk Utah.
Yeah.
You can tell me I hate the conference. I don't hate the conference. I hate the people that run the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think Scott and Kliavkoff are two of the worst commissioners in all of college athletics ever. I think they've done terrible jobs. What Larry Scott did to the damage that Larry Scott individually did to Utah is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I think a lot of other schools too, by the way.
If you had a better TV deal, it would make it much easier for people to be Utah fans and the brand would grow.
Yeah.
It's that
100%.
simple. It is that simple. Chris P says, I come here for the honesty. I appreciate that. Kanai Johnson, what's up, KJ? Says, it's the honesty for me. That makes me like this show. If your team sucks, Monty will let you know they suck.
But it's not, but like, and that's true. But I want to be really clear on this because I think it's super important. Like, not just for Greg, but like for everybody. It's not like when we put these shows together, right? Like, we just don't show up and we're like, hey, we're going to talk about how the Orlando Magic suck. Like, that's not what we're doing. Like we show up and we're talking about how, hey, like Vando is struggling to shoot it from the corner. Like Joel, they didn't have an answer for Joel. Like, you know, Utah, Tavion Thomas is running his ass off now, and he wasn't earlier in the season. And we talked about that. Like, we're not here. Like, the word suck, I think, is such a casual take. Oh, yeah, your team sucks. All right, cool. But that's not really what we.
Yeah, I mean, it is much. We're always going to talk about what we believe most people want to talk about. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Joe Schmo says, Monty, am from the Great Lakes region too, but I love the Pac. Crumbling or not, I knew Utah was tough during the Henry Lusk era before Scott Mitchell.
Damn.
Wow.
That's a throwback.
That takes you back. Yep. Tom says Utah fans are hoping that out-of-state people would see them nationally ranked schools that need pushed and potential. Utah is one of the most under-respected, under-recognized athletic programs in the country. And I said athletic programs, not football teams. Like from basketball has struggled, okay, fine. But if you look at things like baseball, the Red Rocks, you look at all of the Olympic sports, the achievements that they've done in facilities, the achievements they've done academically, like Utah is one of the most underappreciated athletic programs in the conference.
But again,
without question.
This is another conversation that pissed a lot of people off. Right? The whole conversation around like NIL and how that's really difficult and how the media marketing thing, like Utah hasn't gotten on board with that. Well, I remember when Kyle Whittingham went on and did that interview. I think it was 247 Sports, could be wrong, but he did that interview where he talked about they need more, quote, resources. And everyone was like, oh, he's talking about money. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not, like, I love watching Utah football. I love watching BYU football, you know? They're just in two very different places. And that's why I say, like, when it comes down to it, you know, we're going to talk about what people want to talk about.
Let's see. Joe Schmo says, I spent part of my young life out in Phoenix. There's a strong contingent of BYU fans in Mesa, Arizona as well. Well, there's a huge LDS community there as well. Like if you look at, you know, Tempe South, Chandler, like you look at the temples sprouting up all over southern Phoenix. Yeah, you go Mesa, Ahwatukee, Chandler, Gilbert, like all that portion. The Southeast Valley is. There's a lot of LDS out there, and that's not a problem, you know. And Phoenix, by the way, really interesting place because you just go, like you were just saying, like you just step into Tempe and that's all over with. Yeah, it's totally different, and it is. The other thing you got to know is that there's pretty much no local fan base there. Yeah, everybody's a transient. Yeah. Frank Curcio, hey Frank, where you been? Good to see you, dude. Yeah, dude. I'm here for the Jazz Talk. I'm from New Jersey, but I watch for the Jazz Talk. Nice. Ski Verrett says, I don't watch professional football. You should. You should. It's enjoyable. Okay. Tom Basula says, I found the show because of a Utah video you all posted. Haven't missed a day since. Maybe try to grow the brand? Sure. I would love to grow the Utah brand. I do. I don't avoid talking Utah. I don't. And I can't remember Spencer's last name, but we had a listener named Spencer who used to come in every day and say, Utah won. Why aren't you leading with them? I get it. I hear you. San Diego State says, I like the national sports takes by the show. The mega laugh we get here from the grade A wittiness keeps me tethered daily. Oh, I appreciate that. Frank says, this show is great. They give honest opinions and have great banter. Good job, guys. Appreciate you. Like I said in the previous show, I'm here for Jazz and professional sports like NFL and baseball. And wide receiver, can't forget the non-sports segment. Exactly. Joe Schmo says, strong LDS, BYU East Valley, ties in Phoenix Metro. Vi Sikahema. Oh, my God. Dude. Vi Sikahema. 100%. Yeah, Vi's a good dude. Tanner, I'm back, and we're having a complaint that Monty talks too much BYU. Look, BYU brings more eyeballs than Utah. It's simple as that. Hey, guys. Pretty much. Pretty much. I'm a Utes fan, but honestly can't stand most of the fans. They expect the team to go unbeaten every year and have too high of an expectation, Kyle says. I do think that you lose a lot of Ute fans with the Florida loss, for instance. Well, I think you're so here's the deal, though. You're suffering from success on some level because Kyle Whittingham has raised the bar so high with what he's been able to accomplish. It's like now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, bro, we lost to Florida. Man, the season's over. We're not going undefeated. What the hell? Like that's what happens. And I think that it's like this great thing and this worst thing. Like you're a great football program, but it's like one loss in a game that everyone roundly agrees you should have won. And it's like, all right, we're done for the year. We'll see you next year. Like you're 6-0 at Rice Eccles, dude. Come on. As always, Talking Football on this show is presented by our good friends at Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. Make sure you check them out in Layton, Lehigh. Of course, St. George, all of our good friends, Utah Tech. Bless you. We have a bunch of strong, passionate Utah Tech fans. Yes. We were like, hey, you're going to talk about the game this week? I know the soccer team's kicking ass too. Like, see, that's the thing that happens. Like, it comes from all sides. By the way, it should be said, BYU fans always say, why do you talk Utah? This is a BYU show. Hey, guys. I get we talk a lot of BYU. I totally understand. We're not a BYU show, man. Anyway, go see our good friends at Barbecue Pit Stop from Logan, Layton, St. George, Lehigh, and, of course, our good friends in Murray. The very best in the business for barbecue equipment. Absolutely Barbecue Pit Stop. But did you know all of their stores now offer a selection of meats as well? Take home the smoker and get a brisket as well. You can chat with them online. I love the fact that our listeners are able to order product, get advice, talk to the guys at Barbecue Pit Stop on their website at bbqpitstop.com because they're just good people to do business with. Yeah. And anytime we're talking Pac-12, BYU, Utah, you name it, you can always think of our good friends at Barbecue Pit Stop. A couple of more comments before we get to today's National Pickle Day.
Yeah, dude.
So that'll be the food.
What did Greg say? Because I want to make sure that we leave it on a good note with Greg here. Greg, I don't want you leaving the show all pissed off.
Yeah, I don't want you to.
Dude. I'm not interested.
It's
in that.
kind of shocking the amount of Utah fans to expect us to have an undefeated season every year. It's a lot.
Yeah, well, and I think that
it's a lot.
It's like, I don't know. It's tough because you went through this whole thing the last couple of years, I feel like, with the loss of players, the death of those players, and then quitter quarterback leaving the program. And now this year it feels like it's like, all right, cool. The water has settled. We're good. We're cruising now. And then you lose that Florida game, and then it's like you got to kind of bounce through the schedule here. So I don't know why people are just like, hey, if we lose a game, like the season's over. Because college football is all about, do you have 2 losses or 3 losses? That's it. If you have 2 losses, you're good.
Yeah, I think the Aaron Lowe, Ty Jordan stuff was galvanizing. I mean, I don't care who you are, as a BYU fan or a Utah fan. I mean, that if that did not make you feel some type of way.
And the helmets they've done this year, they're still doing helmets. They're still doing tributes, which I love.
They still have their families involved. Like, there is nothing at all wrong with Utah football. Like I said, it's not that we don't want or we don't talk about Utah intentionally.
Yeah.
It's simply a matter of serving a fan base. So I don't mean it to be a thing where we don't care about them, or it's just not. Jeremy Bolton, what's up, guy? He says, just caught back up. I've been listening to Monty since 1320 with Napoleon and Will. Then Monty and Gunther. Thought about quitting the show when the Love Fest for Caruso shows up. Barf. Well, I am a Bulls fan.
Keep it real.
I am a Bulls fan. Jeremy, appreciate you.
Can I just want to point this out. I like how people are like, we're going to quit the show. Come on.
Look, our business is very interesting. Yeah. And I think the reason that this show has thrived.
Yeah.
And the reason we're able to partner with guys like Tri-Day Trading or The Advocates or Barbecue Pit Stop or Quick Quack or Papa Murphy's is because we have grown our audience significantly. And I think a lot of that is Jazz and NBA. I think a lot of that obviously is college football, because we talk a ton of college football on this show. And no matter how passionate we get about BYU or Utah, I want you to understand every single one of our listeners matters. So guys like Greg, Jeremy Bolton, Tanner Plummer, Boyd Lake, certainly. We value every single one of our listeners. We know you by name. We talk to you regularly off the show. Like, you guys make this show what it is. And listen, Greg, if you're telling us we don't talk enough Utah, we'll talk more Utah. I mean, certainly the plotting out the show this week has been all about Utah and Oregon, like trying to find different angles. And absolutely, we do that because you guys support the show. And frankly, we're in a business where the more people who watch our videos, the better that we do. So our whole goal, everybody always says, oh, you guys are just doing that for clickbait. You want people to click. Yes, that's exactly right.
Sorry, folks, that's what it is.
We want people to watch our videos. So we take your feedback seriously. And I think it's really important as passionate guys that we get after it with our sports takes, Jazz, Utes, BYU. Like, we really get after it, right? But we all have to remember that it's not personal. For us, this is very much a business. This is our livelihood. This is how we make our money. So it means a great deal to us that, the fact that we're approaching 8,000 subscribers, I think we're like 110 away from 8,000.
Yeah.
That we've been able to do that in less than 2 years, that we're at 7,876 subscribers on this channel. And, I remember days when we had 10 total listeners, 10 total viewers on this show.
Yeah.
Like guys like Lopes Van Gabe or guys like Jeremy Bolton. Like, I remember those days, man.
Yeah, dude.
Where if we'd have got 49 likes, I would have jumped off.
That was a good day.
I'd have jumped off a bridge, man.
Yeah, dude, that was a good day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Talking with Raphael podcast gives us a $1.99 tip. Thank you for that. Would you talk about the World Cup? Oh my God, yes.
I would talk about the World Cup in several ways. My first question about the World Cup is, how relevant is it to people here in the state of Utah? Like, just big picture question. How many people care about the World Cup? Because the World Cup is definitely one of those things where it's like, oh, it's soccer? Nah, I don't care about that, right? Like, I think a lot of people would say that. I actually really enjoy the World Cup. I actually feel like it's one of those events that happens every once in a while that even if you know nothing about soccer, you should watch it.
Football, please.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I know. I know.
He's just a hack.
Yeah, so absolutely, Raphael, we will. Salty Drunk says, I've quit the show many times. He has. That's true.
Where was Justin Salas's comment about, I think it was just roll up a little bit, about Utah State? He had some hilarious comment right there.
Let's see. Justin Salas says, I'm a Utah State fan. I don't understand why Utah State doesn't lead the show every show. You need to cater to the one Utah State fan in here. I cannot tell you how many Utah State fans DM me and they're like, bro, we got this going on. Hey, we have a big game. Hey. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, man.
San Diego State says, remember the toxic fan base rankings I DM'd you? Utah #1 in the Pac-12. Utah Ute fans are a passionate fan base. Yep. I do remember those.
Yes.
Aztec, I do. Absolutely. Tanner says, BYU Sports Nation's garbage. Even Jerem Jordan thinks it's garbage. Okay. I don't know. Boyd Lake said, you're a better BYU show than BYU Sports Nation. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate that. But on that note, like, I hope people understand that, like, BYU Sports Nation serves a very specific purpose, right? Yeah. Like, I don't even view us as, like, we're not competition to them, and they're not competition to us. Like, I understand as a viewer, you're going to go where you really enjoy the conversation, and I really appreciate comments like that. But I just hope everyone understands our viewpoint on that is not to go out and kick their ass or something. Like, it's different.
I think the hard part is the media in Salt Lake City struggles. So you don't get unbiased conversations about BYU because of how prevalent the LDS church is in the media here.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of BYU unbiased talk. You just don't. But you also don't get a lot of Utah talk, period. I think probably, and I don't listen to Unrivaled. It hurts my ears most days. That's probably where you're going to get your most Utah Ute football talk because,
all due respect
to Spence Checketts, he talks a ton of RSL. He talks a ton of NBA. So you don't get a lot of Ute talk on his show on the flagship station of the Utes. Bill Riley's your guy.
Yeah.
If you want Utah Ute in depth, you go to Bill Riley, period.
But I think what people have a problem with is that, like even Bill Riley can't be unbiased.
No, he works for the team.
So, like,
the university,
that's
absolutely.
What I've heard that, like, the only reason I bring that up is not even to hate, but, like, I've heard people have told me to my face that they are frustrated in this town, that on the radio specifically, because we're on YouTube, not on the radio specifically, that there's not like an unbiased, just talking about it show. Like, that's what people are pissed about.
Yep. Justin Salas says, with Thanksgiving about a week away, would love an update on how many meals we were able to provide. Love that we are a supportive community. Gives us $5. Thank you. We'll update that next week because we're working through a couple of things with a couple of people without being specific because, again, if you don't know what we're talking about, we collect donations and we're going to provide Thanksgiving meals for families in need. So you probably have a day or two left. If you want to submit your family or somebody else's family or your sister, your brother, your friend, happy to do it. But a lot of people have said, hey, I'd really like it if you didn't talk about our family or, we need help, but please don't talk about us or don't mention our name. And I never really had thought about that. So we're really trying to we're not going to do video on it. It's something that I just think we need to do below the radar. So yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what we did and what we wound up with. Yeah, that would be, we will absolutely do that. Tanner Plummer says, that's why I love Checketts. He talks RSL. Exactly.
Yeah, and listen, exactly. but in all seriousness, you're listening to him because he's giving you what you want, right? Like, you're a big RSL fan, and I'm not even joking. I'm not even poking the bear. You love RSL. So, of course, you're going to listen to Spence, and that's fine. As you should. But that's what I'm saying. That's where I think the difference lies. This town has a lot of people in it who want an unbiased point of view because with all due respect, a lot of people are at different places in their life with where they're at with their faith in the church and that whole setup. So there's a lot of people that have said to us, hey, I come here because just of the truth of it. That's where we've seen success.
Yeah, Skinny Dick Nick says, the media in Tucson actually talk about local sports, not my experience when I lived in Utah. It's shocking, but there is not a lot of local sports here.
Yeah.
There really is not.
Yeah.
There really is not. Let's see. I'm 100K says the last time BYU took down Utah in the rivalry game between the two schools was 2009.
That's not true.
That's not true. But what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Respect for donating to families in need for Thanksgiving. You got my subscription. Oh, I appreciate that, 100K. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
It means our community means the world to us. It's why we do our show at Maverick Center. The people that own the Grizzlies in Maverick Center, and like, they really do a great job of valuing the community. It's something that it's why we're here. I mean, the community, without you guys, we would not have a show or a platform or, Frank Curacao says, can you guys talk Jazz again, please? It's way better than ESPN. They don't even care about them.
Yeah, dude, you can. I mean, we're not going to be able to do like another hour on it. Like we did. I think we did a full hour on it at the start of the show. At the
start of the show, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would tell you, just go back to that point.
Yeah. Jeremy says, LOL, I mean, you talk too much University of Utah. Anyway, any U of U talk is too much U of U talk. See, I mean, we're just trying to
offended by that.
Please the masses. Tom says, Bill Riley is the only Utah show. It's terrible. There's a gigantic Ute sports talk vacuum. I love coming here to see BYU fans react to them being terrible. I do love today's Utah talk, though. I mean, all week long, you can count on us talking Utah in Pac-12, because I think this is
what matters. That's what matters. Like, with all due respect to BYU now, you're on bye and you're playing nobody, so nobody cares. Like,
this is the biggest story in Utah sports.
Yeah.
Utah, Oregon, and the Pac-12 are I think that probably in Utah sports right now, the Utah-Oregon game is number one.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Jazz are a close second. Tomorrow night against the Knicks, I would expect that place to be buzzing.
And I think a big subtopic that's not like right in your face right now, but this Utah-Oregon game really impacts, is streaming and the TV stuff. Because if Utah wins this game, you have to get a better distribution deal. Like, how many games are they going to play that are games of consequence that will affect the college football playoff for the Pac-12? And they're not easily found. Like, this game will be easily found, obviously, but you see what I'm getting at. So that's what I'm saying. That, to me, is a subtopic as well.
Tanner's back on that drop he hates.
He
says, I don't mind the bullying.
Let me get it out here. All right,
he says, I don't mind the bullying. I just hated that drop, and I also don't like how they ignore the fact that Alex and Jake were the ones who brought that nonsense into the show.
Oh, my God, just like that. Oh.
That's the drop that Tanner hates.
You're not going to – I'm not letting you off the hook, dude. You brought up soaking.
Yes,
and
you
so
did.
I was forced to bring up this drop.
Yes, you did.
Sorry if you're offended
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Tanner, I don't know how you're trying to get away from you brought up the soaking
and
thing.
By the way, I even came to the middle. I said I wouldn't even play it in regards to you, and now you're forcing me to. You're referencing it. What am I supposed to do here?
Yeah. Eric C. says, doesn't RSL have the only pro trophy in the state of Utah? Yes, they do. That's exactly right.
Well, yeah, but they're also one of two pro teams.
Yeah, Eric C. says, every time you see Ruffs in the comments, get the popcorn ready. True. Has Ruff been here today? I haven't seen him.
Yes, he has once.
All right. Eric C. says, I wish I had that drop, Tanner. It's a great drop.
Oh, my God, just like that. Oh.
Yes, it is. Justin Salas, are you doing an 8K giveaway? I need to win some Jazz tickets. I'll give away Jazz tickets at 8,000.
Yeah, we could do that.
Absolutely. Hey, by the way, big announcement on the show. We're giving away a pair of Jazz tickets when we get to 8,000 subs.
Everybody
go ahead
subscribe.
Go ahead and hit the subscribe. We can do that. We can do that. What game? And since, Justin, you brought it up, what game? Let's look at let me pull up the Jazz schedule.
Pull up the old schedule here.
What game do you want us to give tickets away to? Let's see. The Utah Jazz. Let's look at their schedule. We'll give away Jazz tickets.
You know it's going to be like the Lakers or like, Luka or the Suns.
Let's do what's a really good home game in the second half? We could do Brooklyn?
Should do Minnesota.
Minnesota.
We should do Minnesota for
Katie and Brooklyn. Here are the options. Minnesota on February 8th. Brooklyn on Friday, January 20th.
Ooh, the February 8th game would be really good with the deadline on the 10th.
Ooh, yes, it would. Their second half home games are trash. Boston on March 18th. Giannis on the 24th of March. Phoenix on the 27th.
I don't know. What are the people saying? I mean, obviously these people know the schedule.
Lakers on April 4th.
Yeah.
Ooh, that Minnesota game. Yeah, what game do you guys want us to give tickets away to?
Yeah, what are we looking at here?
It is. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, damn, I missed that. Thanks, guys. I look back now. Frank says, okay, cool. Yeah, we started the first hour of the show with all Jazz.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. S says, the best part is Utes get to take care of business for BYU fans this weekend. Exactly right.
I mean, seriously. If
Payback.
Yeah, dude.
Payback. For BYU fans, the Utes are 8-2. Just saying. Yeah, exactly right. Oh, there it is. Ruff's official. Eric C. I like to stir the pot. Yes, he does.
And you know what? I want to give Ruff some credit there. I appreciate you saying that, bro, because so many people want to troll and they won't just admit that they like to do that. So
they won't. I
appreciate you for saying that.
And a guy like Ruff's official, who we battle on politics apparently,
right?
I don't mind that you're here.
I'm not a big fan of Fox.
Yeah, well, I don't mind. Please talk World Cup, Pied Piper says. We will absolutely talk World Cup. Boyd Lake says, I'm hoping to see lots of Conover Finnegan this week versus Utah Tech. Jacob Conover needs to play.
Yeah.
Absolutely needs to play.
So I said, yeah.
Frank says, sub, I want to go, Monty. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go.
Frank says, Lakers, please. Justin Salas says, the Cavs.
Ooh, do they have the Cavs at home?
Yeah,
with Donnie?
that's January 10th.
Okay, see, that's a front runner to me. You got to either go Wolves, Cavs, Lakers, Suns.
What if we do this? What if we go to the Jazz game with you?
Yeah.
What if we give away 2 tickets and Jake and I'll go to the game with you? Does that make it more inviting? I don't know. Does it? I mean, we'll buy you Jack in the Box. Is Jack in the Box open?
Oh my God! Just like that. Oh.
You know, we could do that if we get. Yeah, okay. If we get to 8, how about this?
What's today's date? The 14th.
We're at November 14th, so we have 2 months to get to 8,000 subs. We'll easily do that.
Yeah, that's not a fair challenge.
9,000 subs.
9,000. Yeah.
Okay, how about that?
9,000 subs by New Year's.
If we get to 9,000 subs by January 1st, we will give away a Utah Jazz experience, and we will buy you a custom Utah Jazz jersey at the game.
Yeah.
So we'll give you 2 tickets to the game, and the person who wins, like, Justin, if you win, we'll buy you a custom Utah Jazz jersey.
Yep.
And we'll go to the game with you.
Yeah. Now tell all your friends to sub to the channel. Because, again, if we don't get to 9,000.
9,000 by January 1st, we'll give away 2 tickets to the Cleveland game. We'll go to the game with you.
Yeah.
And we'll buy you a Jazz jersey.
That's right, T.
How about that?
That's 6 weeks. That's more than this show does. This show does about 500 subs a month or so, I think we were saying. So 6 weeks, really, I mean, pushing it a little bit, but tell all your friends. Get them here, man.
Yeah, if all you have to do is, when we get to 1,000, you have to be subscribed to the channel.
Yep.
And we will pull one winner, and we will go we'll buy 4 Jazz tickets. We'll take you plus 1, and we will buy you a Jazz jersey. And we'll watch the Jazz and the Cavs together.
There you go.
How about that?
I like it.
You down for that?
I'm down, dude.
Is everybody down for that?
Yeah, I'm
Does
down.
that sound great?
Yeah.
Okay, Justin says, I told my son I would bring him to the Cavs game because he never got to see Don live. So it would be amazing to go with you guys and the kid. That would be amazing.
Sick, dude.
That would be amazing.
I'm telling you, all you got to do is get us to 9,000 subs, bro.
That's
tell
it.
all your people to come and sub, make accounts, sub the channel. That's it.
That's right. Little Jizzy says, can we ride to the game together? Hey, you win, you name it. Absolutely.
Hey.
Maybe we'll rent a limo or something.
I'll take you in the old Sub, the one that burns down national forests and
no,
stuff.
No, he will
Yeah.
not. No. If that happens, we will Uber a black car. How about that? If that happens, we'll Uber a black car. Maybe we meet at the Maverick Center. We'll Uber a black car.
Yeah.
Like an SUV, and we'll ride to the game together.
There you go.
I'm good to do that. Yeah, I don't care. Let's see. Boyd Lake says, fire up the Subi Turbo, Jake.
Yeah, the turbo.
Greg says, I wish Utah was a baseball state. We had a great World Series and there was no coverage anywhere. It's tough.
It's brutal.
It's tough. And Jake and I are huge baseball fans.
I'm so pissed at the Astros won again, dude.
Ruff's official says, could you imagine if Monty had to buy me a jersey and take me to a game? I would love to, Ruff. Yeah. I would love to. Raptor 88 says,
I remember when I had my first beer.
Exactly. Raptor 88 says, sounds awesome to me. Start subbing to the show.
Let's
Exactly.
go,
Tell all
man.
your friends.
Sub.
Tell all your
Do
friends. Josh the Balla says, yeah.
And we're not even talking about what we're doing at 10,000 subs. We haven't even told you guys
we
about
haven't
that.
even told you about the 10,000
Get us to 9 first, okay?
Get us to 9 first. Yeah. Exactly right. Justin says, about to make 1,000 accounts this evening for a better chance to win. Exactly right. Exactly right.
You know what you should do, Justin? You should make all these new accounts and just have them be Justin Solis 1, Justin Solis 2.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Tanner says, that's a great idea, Monty's. Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, let's go.
That's going to be a great game.
Yes.
Exactly right. Let's see. Talking with Raphael says, can I drive the subbing? Do you mean the
what
Subi?
Does that mean? You're not
he
driving
says
the
Subi.
dude.
Yeah, you can drive the Subi.
You can be in the passenger seat.
No, you can drive the Subi. It's fine. Raptor88 says, if I win, sounds good to me, Jake. There you go, Raptor88. Let's go.
People want to ride, you know?
Let's go. Eric C says, I'll fly to the game with my girlfriend for the game with the Monty clan. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it.
And I'm not opposed. By the way, even if you don't win the tickets and the experience and all that, I'm not opposed to a bunch of people coming to the game.
Yeah, if you're gonna be there,
yeah.
I'm happy to. Honest, I say this all the time. If you run into me at a Jazz game, because we go to a lot of Jazz games, you run into me at a Jazz game, I will happily buy you a cold beverage of your choice. Because you guys, again, I'm serious. It is amazing how many of my USC friends are DMing and hitting me about what I said about USC. Deal with it. Yeah, I'm happy to if I see you there. You know. Let's go. JP Steven Shanahan says, thanks for the shout out. Oh, you're welcome.
Let's go.
Justin Salas says, deal. Tanner says, LOL, I remember that video of Jake speeding. I also remember Monty throwing a Karen tantrum about how Jake was killing the world because of it. I did, for sure. Justin Salas says, tomorrow you will have at least 100 extra accounts of Justin Salas 1 through 100. Oh,
that's so great, dude.
Pied Piper says, just talk about whatever is hot. That's fine. BYU or Utah, it doesn't matter. I'm here for both. Love the Pac-12 talk. Appreciate you, Pied Piper.
Guys. If we all just make 3 accounts each, we can be at 9,000 tomorrow.
There you go. We'll give away tickets tomorrow. Joshua the Balla says, you guys are the GOATs. Appreciate you, Joshua. Thanks. Eric C says, my girlfriend and I got to meet Tanner Bolton Ruffs and the rest of the legends on this channel. You do.
Let's go.
And I'll tell you, Eric C, you have a baller girlfriend. That girl is top notch. She has sent me pictures. She is like that girl, man, that girl's amazing.
Yeah.
Frank Curcio says, making new accounts now. Thank you. Tanner says, yeah, bringing your girlfriend is a terrible idea. Why? Are you kidding? Greg Hawkins gives us a $5 tip. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
I actually owe Greg tickets.
Yeah, dude.
Greg and I were supposed to go to a Utah game.
Yeah, I know.
And it didn't work out. Yeah. So, Greg, I owe you tickets.
Well,
absolutely.
now that he's back in the States and everything, we can,
Yeah. Eric C says, I won't be able to go without her. Exactly right. That would be baller if you won and you guys came to the game. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that'd be sick, dude.
Oh, my God. Okay, so that's what we'll do. We will, if we get to 9,000 subscribers before January 1st, we'll give away 2 tickets to the Jazz-Cavs game. I'll buy you a jersey, and we'll go to the game with you.
Yeah.
And we'll do it in an Uber Black.
Yep.
How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, cool. Roll the music because we got to go. Good to see you all again. Greg and everybody else love the conversation. Be back tomorrow. It is Utah week on the show.
Yeah.
So
let's go.
We're all about Utah and Oregon. We'll talk a lot of Jazz and Knicks. Have a full preview for you tomorrow for all of our guys, including the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Thanks for watching the show. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.